This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, happy Friday. I'm so glad y'all are here with me this here day. I hope y'all are all doing well. I hope y'all had a good night last night. Lord have mercy, that was so loud. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scream in y'all's ears. Um, I'm so glad y'all are here, y'all. I have had like the worst day. Um, so it's good to see y'all, and I'm happy to be here with you. Let me say hey to y'all. Miss Cindy from sunny South Florida. Real quick, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that. Those went to Petunia, YouTube Bad Actors, Cassie F, M Skate, and Lisa White. If you were gifted from Miss Cindy from sunny South Florida, please tell Miss Cindy thank you. Thank you again, Miss Cindy. I really appreciate that. I will grab the crazy train and get y'all on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you again, Miss Cindy. Jenny Jen, good to see you. Southern Cats, Abellis, Banana Bottom. Do you have an email? Yes, I do. It is allegedly speculating at gmail.com. I've gotten some of the sweetest emails there too. I haven't had a chance to respond to everybody yet, but if you sent me an email, I wanted to say thank you because I got some really sweet emails. I read one, y'all. I went. I had to go to the city this morning. Okay. And I've got all the kids in the car with me. We left at 6:30 in the morning so I could be back by 9:30 and let the animals out and all that. And we're driving on the road, and then all of a sudden my tire pressure thing comes on and my light's going. My tire's deflating by the second. So I pull in this gas station because like we're out in the middle of nowhere. Luckily this gas station has a garage. So I'm like, "Oh, thank God they got a garage." And so I'm like, but there's cars everywhere. And I'm like, "Hey, my tire is going flat. Do you guys have tires?" They said, "No, we don't have tires, but we could patch it for you." And I said, "Okay." I had a can of Fix-A-Flat in the truck. And so I tried to put that in. I put some air in it. It was still going flat. So they patched it, but it was like not a good patch. I had to get it fixed as soon as possible. So I continue down the road and I'm like, okay, I got to find a used tire shop because I wasn't paying for brand new tires. And I get there and Mr. Speculating had a can of Fix-A-Flat on another one from when we went camping. And so I had both of the back tires replaced. Okay, I went ahead and did both of them because the other one needed it too. And then they go to take the tires off. Number one, there's locks on the lug nuts, and he's in damn Arkansas, and I don't got the lock lug nut. And then one of them is like the thing where you put the lug nut. It had gotten so hot that it had welded shut. So they had to break that one. And I go to AutoZone, and I had to buy 2 lug nuts to replace the one, but they put them on for me for free. But it's just been a crazy morning. Y'all, I was like, good Lord, could it get any worse? So I'm going to be on as long as I can today with y'all, but I don't know if it's going to be as long. It probably ain't going to be nowhere near as long as it has been. And I don't know how long I'll be here. So, because it's just been crazy. Okay, cool. Thank you, Banana Bottom. I appreciate that. Lisa Lynn, good to see you. Dainty Dane, good to see you. Don't ask. Okay. I love flat tires because Maddie got, oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. That should be reserved for people like Stephen Stearns. Yeah, it was like a nail was in my tire, but that thing started going flat quick. Hey, Jenny Jen Shroda, good to see you. Nessa, good to see you. Victoria, good to see you. Cara Boom Boom. I know. Sorry, Cara Boobara, not Cara Boom Boom. Andy, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Lori Ann, good to see you. Cindy, again, good to see you. Justice Jane, good to see you. Cara, my love. Cuff you, good to see you. Snarky Pants, good to see you. Dainty Dane. Oh, Dainty Dane. Gifted a membership. Thank you so much for that, Dainty Dane. I just saw that. And hello, M Face and Crystal Burns. Dainty Dane, I really appreciate you gifting a membership. I was not able to see who that went to, but if you are the lucky recipient of Dainty Dane's gifted membership, please tell Dainty Dane thank you. Thank you, Dainty Dane. I will grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Thank you, Dainty Dane. That was awesome. I really appreciate that. All right, so I have checked my email and I've checked my email and my Discord and all of that. What did I just see? Okay, I saw that. Okay. Wanted to make sure I said hey to everybody. Miss King of Anything, good to see you. I got girl yesterday, Shraddha, just to let see, it's been like messed up, right? Yesterday, I went to go put the goat out on the line because right now until I can fix them a new pen with an area, right? I have them kind of on a line. Hold on. And I walked out there to untangle the line, and two yellow jackets stung me. You should have seen me hollering, and I dropped and rolled around in the grass out there hollering, "Oh my God!" because a yellow jacket, one of them got me right in the middle of my back, and the other one got me on the inside of my right thigh. Like, it's been a damn crazy week. And then Mr. Speculating had to go to Arkansas because his father died. It's just been insane. Hold on just a minute, y'all. Okay. Let me get my Discord link. Hold on just a minute. My Nightbot used to drop it, but it changes from what I've been told. It changes every few weeks. So let me grab that link. Okay. Oh my goodness. I know that the link I just dropped is accurate. I don't know if the one that Nightbot dropped is accurate. I will pin that to the top. Oh, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. So yeah, it's been crazy. It's been just crazy. All right. So let's get into this. Y'all, I'll be honest with you. Mr. Speculating sends me stuff from time to time. And since he's been in Arkansas, he sent me a link for this thing that a news article that I had seen a couple of times, but I hadn't paid much attention to it. Okay. And so I saw that nobody was talking about it. And I figured that we would talk about it today. And it's out of Bibb County, Alabama. And they're known as the Bibb County 7. Okay. Now, I have information on it. I haven't read it or anything like that. I did submit a FOIA request to try to get more information on it. Um, but I didn't know the details of it. Well, I just looked on YouTube for a video about it, and y'all, oh my God, like this is horrific. It's going to be very triggering. I have never heard anything this bad. Like I mean, we talk about Maddie, y'all, oh my God. I mean, this is bad. So we're gonna read this article so I can tell y'all about it. Um, Yeah, there's not much out, but oh my God, it's bad. They had a hey Pisces, good to see you. They had a press conference on it yesterday and I clicked on it and I heard the charges and I was like, Jesus in heaven above. So we're gonna read this article and then we'll listen to the press conference. You're allergic to yellow jackets? Boy, them things hurt. I ain't allergic to them, but it was awful. All right, no, thank you. Okay, we're going to play this video. It says 7 arrested in child abuse case with an underground bunker in Bibb County. And we'll do the press conference in a minute. Okay, I was trying to make it big. Hold on.
Well, a total
All right.
of 7 people are now in custody in connection to a child trafficking case involving an underground bunker in Bibb
Yes, thank
County.
you.
Some of the suspects are the children's own parents, and authorities say more victims may still be out there. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson has more details, and we want to warn you, you may find it disturbing.
It's a case investigators say they'll never forget. Children drugged and tied up, taken underground into a bunker where strangers paid to abuse them.
Y'all, did you hear that? Oh my God. What the hell is going on? Where does our world come to? What? Their parents, y'all. Jesus.
Sometimes there would be multiple people that would come by and victimize these children on
Oh
a
my
nightly
God.
basis.
10 children so far have been identified. The youngest, just 3 years old.
Jesus.
The oldest, 15. Most of them are under the age of 10, and investigators fear there are more victims and suspects still unaccounted for.
Some of them come in as they got old enough to be desirable to a pedophile, I guess. And then some of them, their victimization started out when they were younger, and then they reached the age of 10.
Oh my
Investigators
God.
say the children were sexually abused in what was described as appointments paid for by offenders.
Sometimes
I mean, and you see the lineup. This is going to be Bibb County, Alabama. They're known as the Bibb County 7.
they could make up to $1,000 a night.
And
Oh
some of
my
the people
God.
who were supposed to protect them were the ones handing them over.
Some of these people are acquaintances, some of them are family, and some of them are just people that they were able to schedule to come to the storm shelter.
Law enforcement
Y'all, some was family, some was people they were scheduling to, like, I don't even want to speak it. Here's our slew of degenerates here. Looks like 5 men and 2 women. And those 2 women are going to be mothers, I'm assuming. Like, what on God's green earth, y'all? Like, how? Yeah, make an appointment. Like, we're going to y'all. Hey, Jen Dye, good to see you. You think it's going to be a Pandora's box? Probably. Yeah, it's snarky. It's sick. I'll never understand the desire for that either. It's insane. I wish we had Josephine and we could carry out laws like they did back in the day, in the cowboy days. Did they say on the app? I didn't catch that. It's happening here. And I mean, this is one that got busted. How many haven't?
believe this wasn't just a local crime. It was part of an organized human trafficking network, possibly linked to a violent gang. One suspect, Andres Trejo Valquez, is believed to have connections to a gang called Serenos, a group the sheriff says profits off child exploitation.
What?
His legal status in the U.S. is now under investigation.
Wherever this guy come from, we don't know what he left in his trail.
Gracie Johnson reporting, and anyone with any information on this case is asked to contact the Bibb County Sheriff's Office.
So I'm going to read this article and we're going to see what we can find out about this and everything going on. And we'll watch the press conference after I read this article. I look for that AI thing that y'all talk about, but I don't know where it would be at. All right. Let me see what y'all are saying. Shraddha said, agreed. It's so crazy, especially the women involved. I just can't believe it's real. I can't either. Sydney said it gets worse. Oh my God. They're discovering more being involved from multiple states. Well, I hope they get every single one of them. I pray for the mental well-being. They need therapy. Yep. I mean, how fucking shattered do you? I just can't fathom. I mean, and some of them it was their own children, for fuck's sake. Hey, Vero. It's not a lone case. Typically, this stuff doesn't make mainstream media. It doesn't. All right, I'm going to read the article. Bibb County, Alabama. Authorities have arrested 3 additional suspects in connection with a disturbing child abuse case involving an underground bunker, bringing the total number of arrests to 7. During a press conference on Wednesday, Bibb County Sheriff Jody Wade identified the newly arrested individuals as Rebecca Brewer, Ricky Turnell, and Sarah Lewis Turnell. Ricky Terrell and Sarah Terrell, and Rebecca Brewer. Sheriff Wade detailed the charges against each suspect, noting that charges are still pending for Brewer, Ricky, and Sarah. William Chase McElroy is charged. Okay. I'm going to let him read off the charges because when he reads it off, I can't even speak it. In the press conference, you'll hear the charges, and y'all, you better, I don't know. I got Basil here. Y'all better grab you something to damn punch her. I'm not going to punch Basil. I'm going to hold Basil really close and love on him, but you're going to need a pillow because you're probably going to be yelling. Okay. That's charges again. Victims in the case range from ages 3 to 15, with some of the offenders being parents of the victims, authorities said. Sheriff Wade also revealed that one of the suspects has ties to a gang known for profiting from child crimes. Investigators have reason to believe this all began in 2022. William McElroy, William McElroy is accused of acknowledging inappropriate conduct with a child, while Dalton Terrell reportedly admitted to unlawful activity during an interview with investigators. Anders Trejo is accused of disturbing explicit images and facilitating contact between victims and others. Vero Trejo's status as a U.S. citizen is currently under investigation. New pictures reveal the inside of the underground bunker tied to a child trafficking case out of Bibb County involving victims as young as 3 years old. Sheriff Jody Wade says as of right now they have identified 10 victims ranging in ages from 3 to 15. Some suspects are the children's own parents. One suspect has confirmed ties to the gang profiting from the exploitation of children. This is the bunker. Like, everything is just the fan is disgusting. Of course, the bed's disgusting. What is this chair here for? And why is there camping chairs in here? It's set up like a freaking jail. It is. Sorry you came in on anybody that's coming in. I'm sorry you came in on some bad shit today. I'm sorry for cussing. It's just bad. And we got a toaster with a coffee pot and some damn hot dogs and a dresser. Lord have mercy. So that's the bunker. Let me see. I think that might be all for the article, minus the charges. Oh no. We got one more paragraph to read. I'm not speaking the charges. I can't do it. We'll listen to it on YouTube though. The bunker that the children were housed in reportedly was an underground storm shelter. Oh, let me try that again. The bunker that the children were housed in reportedly was an underground storm shelter, quote, was built for a good thing, protecting life, and used for a horrible thing, Sheriff Wade told reporters. The offenders would allegedly arrange and pay for what was described as appointments to abuse children in the underground bunker on Aaron Drive. I wanted to see if we could Google image the place. I'll probably try to grab a video. Hold on just a minute. ARON. No, we don't need Arkansas. Did I click Arkansas? Lord, I put in Arkansas. Hold on. Let me pull it back up. I mean, a lot of them, you can read about it. I want to see a map, though. Oh, okay, so it's not real big. But I don't want that kind of map. I want a, like, different kind of map. There we go. Yeah, the picture shows the bunker being in some trees, so it might be that right there. I don't know, y'all. I mean, y'all saw what I did. I just looked on Google and typed in Aaron Drive. I mean, I have no idea. This could be something completely unrelated, but the quick image it showed like a bunker down in some trees. So that could be it right here. Lord have mercy. Can't really see anything except that something is there. Hey, Laura, thank you for your email. You made my day a lot better. And anybody else who emailed me, I will get back to you as soon as I can. Michelle, good to see you. Prison is too good. It's not visible from the road. I didn't think so. Okay. So let's go over to YouTube. Laura, we're talking about a horrible case this morning. I'm just going to give you a trigger warning. It's like the worst case I've heard. And I don't even know if I've ever heard anything this bad before. It's horrific. It is absolutely horrific. Okay, hold on. All right. Let me pull up what I'm looking at. Oh, that's not right. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to talk about a couple of things today. This is the 30-minute press conference, so I think that might give us the full details. Already, he just is disgusted already. Looks like a lot of cars have driven up in there. Unfortunately, probably, in my opinion, Alligator Alley is a horrible place, and a lot of the people there do not deserve to be there. These are the type of people who deserve to be there. I agree. Thank you for the trigger warning. I'm going to leave that up. Well, okay. Yeah, y'all can see it. We really need to hear it. It's not necessary.
The first suspect is William Chase McElroy. The victim's ranged in age from 3 to...
Okay, y'all are going to hear some of the worst stuff known to man. Okay. I can't stress that enough. It's going to get real freaking bad. So please, for the love of God, please, if you need to leave, please protect your peace. I mean, if you can think it was probably done, y'all. So please protect your peace.
10 years old. His charges are 4 counts of rape first, 6 counts of sodomy first, 6 counts of human trafficking, 4 counts of kidnapping first. And we have mugshots available for you that we'll provide you after the conference. The second arrest is of Dalton Terrell. His charges are rape first, 5 counts, sodomy first, 7 counts, human trafficking, 6 counts, kidnapping first, 4 counts. The third arrest is Andres Velasquez Trejo. His charges are 6 counts of human trafficking. Those victims ranging in age from 3 to 15 years old. Next is Timothy Dale St. John Jr. His charges are 2 counts of rape first, 4 counts of sodomy first, 4 counts of human trafficking, 3 counts of kidnapping first, 1 count of bestiality, 1 count of aggravated cruelty to animals. In addition to the animals, the victims ranged in age from 3 to 10 years old. Next is Rebecca Brewer. Her charges are 8 counts of human trafficking, 8 counts of kidnapping first, 3 counts of sexual torture. Next arrest is Rick.
And the women, like, some of these people were parents of these children. I think that's why that one hit him a little harder. That might have been one of the mamas.
Ricky Terra. His charge right now is 1 count of rape first. We anticipate more charges on these other ones as they have just been arrested last night and have not been to grand jury yet. The final arrest made, Sarah Louise Terrell. Her counts thus far: 1 count of sexual torture and 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child less than 12 years old. There's a lot of people to thank in this investigation. In addition, we'd like to thank our DA's office, the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office, the Central Alabama Child Advocacy Center that helps with interviewing the small victims in this case. The Alabama Fusion Center that helps us get all this information together and get us a timeline going and help organize everything.
I was talking away and muted. I don't know if I was muted the whole time, but I did just drop the link for this channel if anybody wants to watch it without me talking over it. The link is in chat. Chuckerlegs, good to see you. Chuckerlegs said, I'm here with everybody. Hands are busy. Thank God they got all these evil people. I might have to dip. This is really messed up. Love y'all though. I get it. I do. It's like, with everything going on with Brian Koberger and Stephen Stearns, it's like, I mean, you don't think it gets any worse, and then this shit drops. At least the children are alive and have a chance to get the therapy they need and be productive. But how do you get over it? I mean, one of them was bestiality. Jesus Christ. And it's like, where was... I don't want to get religious. I'm very religious. I'm not very religious, but like, we have church on Sunday where my homeschool is Christian based. We're very much about the teachings of God. But then I hear things like this, y'all, and I'm going to be honest with you in this moment. I'm like, where was God? Where was God in this? Maybe because they got protected. I don't know. But like, I've never understood why this shit happens. Like a freaking 3-year-old. I don't get it. I don't understand. And maybe somebody can help me with that one day, but I've never ever understood where God is in these times. And I mean, God Almighty, the children were probably asking themselves that. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. Hannah, good to see you. Said, oh my God, these poor children. And I think a lot of them are being saved. They were able to bust a ring, which is, amazing. But Jesus. Kimmy C123, good to see you. Why are these monsters allowed to live after doing these horrible things? Why do they get to live? Good question. Protecting the minds of the babies. That's a good point, Cara. Hopefully. I kid, Annabellis, I do. Hey, Kim, this is going to be hard. I'm telling you, it's very hard. It's very hard. Hey, Psychic Amelia. Good to see you. Lorianne said, God gives us free will. But what about the children? I mean, I could get with what Cara Bubara said and maybe protecting their minds and keeping them alive so they could be saved. I don't know. Oh, God. Southern said it wasn't God, it was Satan taking over these people. I agree with that. God gives us free will. We do not know what happens between God and the children at the time. That's true. Indy.
Bibb County Department of Human Resources they've been invaluable. The Department of Homeland Security, as we're looking into possible gang affiliations with one of the suspects that's been arrested, known ties to a gang that's known their main source of income is child sex trafficking. And our 911 dispatchers, they do a tremendous job, and they do so much for us other than just answer the radio and tell us where to go.
You know, I didn't even think about that. Snarky Pants said, sad thing is, most of these grown-ups are probably survivors of the same type of torture. And that could be true. You know, if somebody has a traumatic event, there is raised traumatically, there are people who repeat the abuse, and then there's people who say that that'll never happen. Well, some of the children were being abused by their own damn parents. Hey, Alex. Yep, it is. This is how children develop dissociative identity disorder.
Right now, the children, the victims that we have identified, have been removed safely when this immediately was made aware, and they are in the Department of Human Resources in their custody, and they are safe and being cared for and speaking with counselors to help them get through this horrible thing that's happened to them. It's still an ongoing investigation, and we anticipate more arrests and, unfortunately, more victims. That's the information that I can share with you now, but I'd be glad to take a couple of questions if I could answer them. Yes, ma'am?
How are all these people connected? I know there are some with the same last name, but I think some even with different last names, their in-laws and that kind of thing. Can you kind of lay that out for us?
Correct. And for the privacy of the children, I'll just suffice it to say that, yes, some of the victims, the offenders, were parents and different relatives and things like that, which you can draw from the last names being the same as the offenders and victims. So,
what about all the suspects?
So it's cutting in and out. I don't know why press conferences do that, but he said some of the victims do have the same last name as the offenders, meaning that some of the parents and relatives of those parents did hurt and abuse their children or their family members. And that tells me, like you were just saying, they could be the victims of the same type of abuse. I mean, if you've got other family members that are willing to come abuse your child, you know, if my brother Larry is going to come abuse, you know, Billy Joe's child, Susie Q, that's his niece, there's probably been some abuse going on. You know what I mean? God almighty.
Are there any connections there? We got Sarah and Ricky Terrell along with Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one family or?
Some of these people are acquaintances, some of them are family, and some of them are just people that they were able.
Why did we cut?
Correct. Well, a lot of the relatives being involved, so they're not going to come forward. But as far as this, there was the Department of Human Resources. There was child abuse going on there, and that they contacted us to open the investigation. Immediately, victims removed and arrests began being made.
Okay, so wait a minute. Was this a CPS thing, and then they called the police? I'm sorry, y'all. For those of you that are have been through things, I'm so sorry for the things that you went through. And if you ever need to email, you can email me or you can email Abellis to talk. I'm so sorry to y'all. Okay, I backed that up because it sounded like somehow CPS was contacted, and then when CPS came, the police showed up shortly thereafter, which makes me feel a little bit better about that, because we talk about cases where, you know, CPS does the right thing and CPS does the wrong thing, and CPS appears to have done a wonderful thing in this case. Let me see if that's what they said.
There was child abuse going on there, and that they contacted us to open the investigation. immediately victims removed and arrests began being made.
So they said there was child abuse going on. I'm assuming that CPS got involved and then they called the police.
And would they take the children to the bunker, or were the children staying in the bunker?
It depends on the point in time the offenders had. Sometimes the children would be there, tied to a pole that was there, bound to a bed that was there, or in a chair that was there. Sometimes people that would come by.
I hate the way I don't know if they redacted shit or if the
I understand that sometimes they could make up to $1,000 a night.
The DA says that there's maybe up to 12 more men involved. Is there any way to track down these men, or do you have any leads on it? And what about those who purchased the images from the last perpetrator?
That is still something that these guys are working on. They were out till midnight last night and have been since this investigation started. So yeah, I was waiting until a time such as this when we had the known victims safe and the for sure known suspects in custody before we wanted to give out a lot of information on this case. But it is still ongoing. And like I said earlier, unfortunately, I'm afraid there's going to be more victims and many more suspects. And these guys are diligent and they're going to run down everybody they can.
Besides the victims whose parents were involved that you mentioned, those who maybe didn't have parents involved, are there any knowledge of were they knowledgeable of this going on, and could any criminal charges be brought against them?
That is something that will be part of the ongoing investigation. I do not think that anybody that was not involved in this directly was aware that it was going on.
How many additional victims do you anticipate? If you had 10 already, how many additional do you anticipate?
There's no telling.
10 victims already, and there's no telling how many more. I don't know if that first part was where they redacted stuff so it could be on YouTube, or if it was their audio messing up, but hopefully it's fixed. Yeah, I could you imagine? Could you imagine being a police officer and walking in on some shit like that? They said tied to a pole, tied to the bed, tied to a fucking chair. Jesus. 3-year-old. Oh God. I cannot compute this kind of shit. Like, I don't understand. How could
As I'm sure many of your investigators are parents, aunts, uncles, how has it been for you all on kind of peeling this back layer by layer and seeing all this? It seems like it's bad.
Hey,
It's
Tony.
the worst, the worst, the worst, the worst.
Absolutely. It's horrible as a parent when you sit there and you look at your child. I mean, I have a 30-year-old, a
Rebecca.
23-year-old, and a 9-month-old. And I just look at that little girl. I'm thinking, how could you? I mean, absolutely horrible. These men have children that they have to go can get off from a case. Have to thank God that they have good parents like these men.
And were drugs involved?
Okay. This one's cutting out. It's not showing it cutting out. Oh yeah, it does. Let me see. This is a different
5 counts, sodomy first, 7 counts, human trafficking,
It does
6
cut out.
counts, kidnapping first, 4 counts.
We were at like 6 minutes, so I'm gonna skip it ahead to about 6 minutes so that we don't have to hear all that again. I think once is good enough.
Still ongoing, and like I said earlier, unfortunately, I'm afraid there's going to be more victims and many more suspects. And these guys are diligent, and they're going to run down everybody they can.
Besides the victims whose parents were involved that you mentioned, those who maybe didn't have parents involved, are there any knowledge of were they knowledgeable of this going on, and could any criminal charges be brought against them?
That is something part of the ongoing investigation. I do not think that anybody that was not involved in this directly was aware that it was going on.
How many additional victims do you anticipate? If you had 10 already, how many additional do you anticipate?
There's no telling.
God almighty.
As I'm sure many of your investigators are parents, aunts, uncles, how has it been for you all kind of peeling this back layer by layer and seeing all this, it seems like it's bad and it goes from worse to worse to worse to worse.
Absolutely. It's horrible as a parent when you sit there and you look at your child. I mean, I have a 30-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 9-month-old. And I just look at that little girl and I'm thinking, how could you? I mean, absolutely horrible. These men have children that they have to go home to when they can get off from a case like this and be with their children. And I'm sure they just hold them a little tighter. And I know that those children have to just thank God that they have good parents like these men.
And were drugs in there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what drugs those
So, yeah, drugs were definitely involved.
were to use to incapacitate the victims?
No, ma'am. I think it may have been something, not necessarily a narcotic, more of something like to make them a little bit more drowsy and a little bit more compliant for the ones that were physically able to somewhat try to fight back and protect themselves.
Oh my God.
But no, and I know that there was another investigation that was that had kind of crossed over a little bit involving drugs at that residence, and then we kind of had to say, all right, let's wait a minute on that. We've got more important things that we have to address right now.
So, I mean, if I'm just speculating, over here, allegedly speculating, it might have been like a trap house or something, and they were making money in all ways possible, and so they themselves were abusing drugs. There's a drug that is known for making people be a little bit sexually deviant, and maybe that is what the adults were doing, and then they were giving children some type of Benadryl or sedative or something like that to make them compliant, the ones that could fight back. And I mean, you heard about them being oh God.
Do you know who was getting the money that they would pay, who the money went to?
Chris, is that anything I need to divulge? Justin?
Done to several different people.
I would say, yes, look at what's public information on the charges, and it kind of is self-explanatory for what their crimes were and what they were charged with, is whether or not there was currency or any money involved.
Yeah, correct. Because one of the charges that I read out earlier on Trejo, all his accounts were child sex trafficking. So you can draw what you want from that.
He's not accused of.
So yeah, it was said that they could make up to $1,000 a night. Unfortunately.
Doing anything to the children himself except trafficking, is that correct?
Right now, that's all the charges that he's facing right now, which those are incredibly serious charges. But as of right now, as I say, it is an ongoing investigation, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that's going to come out, unfortunately.
Without divulging too much, can you talk about how the bestiality charge of the fourth man arrest was placed into this? I mean, was it part of this, or was it just kind of a charge that was tacked on in a separate incident?
That was something that was discovered during the investigation of the children by witnesses, suspects that were cooperating and giving additional information. So that's how that information come forward.
How were they able to do somebody more of that?
Unfortunately, animals like this, they do have their own network. They've got people that they can call. They've got ads they can take out, be it on any kind of social media platform or something like that. So it is somewhat of an underground thing, but it is well known. Not all the offenders were necessarily familiar with the people that they were purchasing the kids from.
And the house where the bunker is, I know there's an elderly woman, I think one of the men's grandmother who lives there.
Mm.
Is there any reason to think any of the people who lived near there were suspicious of what was happening, knew what was happening?
Well, I think too, and we were talking about that there was also an ongoing drug investigation that we had to put a little bit of a hold on until we could rescue these children. I think that when you've got that amount of traffic going in and out, it's not unusual, especially when the area where it's located, you can pretty much get to the bunker without a lot of people seeing it. And then, at night, it'd be easy to go in there undetected. So I think with a kind of a relatively heavy traffic area like that, it wouldn't be unusual to see a lot of vehicles and people going in and out of the house. But that.
Tom, good to see you. It's a horrific case. Hey, AM. I mean, we've got the list of people who they've arrested so far. Now, this press conference was put out yesterday. Hey, Dolly. I'm telling you now, it's going to be a hard case to hear. And if you need to leave, I get it. I did pull up the Bibb County inmate list or whatever, and I'm going to look up each one of these people and see if they have more charges yet. After we watch this presser, this is a very hard case to hear. So if you need to leave, please do so to protect your peace. I don't. It doesn't get worse.
That's when it's good for people, if they do see activity that's suspicious like that, to please make us aware, because a lot of time when there's something going on like that, there's something bad going on behind it.
You mentioned criminal, gang affiliations, and this has kind of been described as a ring. Do you plan to bring charges under the new Alabama Criminal Enterprise Act?
That's something we're still looking to, working with the district attorney's office. And, we have other agencies that are coming in here to assist us. So the main thing we did was get the charges that we could immediately to get these people in custody and get them off the street. I anticipate more charges coming.
Sheriff, is there evidence, I think you spoke to it, that this is linked to a larger criminal conspiracy or organization? And are there other agencies, federal, involved in your investigation?
Well, we've got Homeland Security investigations that's a little bit more information on the ties to the Sinaloa,
The Serrano's.
Serrano,
Sir.
the Serrano gang. And like I say, I think their main source of income is child trafficking.
Okay.
So yeah, we are getting assistance from federal agencies to help us on that end, because wherever this guy come from, we don't know what he left in his trail.
This may be out of your purview, but when this is over with, will you have any sort of jurisdiction to get rid of the bunker just for psychological purposes?
Good
That is
question.
something that I haven't even thought of at that point. I'm glad you brought that up. So we will see what can or should be done about that. If I had my way about it, we'd blow it up, but that's something that I can't really answer.
Can you describe what the bunker was like? I know we've seen pictures of the outside by now, but can you describe what the inside was like and about how large it was?
Well, it was pretty good sized where you could actually live in there comfortably. I mean, there was a toilet in there. There was a mattress they were using as a bed in there, room for some chairs and things like that. It's kind of a concrete block structure, partially underground, to where you walk around back and you can see it, but it's going into kind of like a hillside. And then on the top of it, like I say, it was like a pad for the roof and then a carport put over it. So when you pull up and look at it, it just looks like a carport on a concrete slab.
The Hispanic suspect, what's he, or is he legal?
We're working with Homeland Security investigations to determine what kind of protective visa he had or anything like that. So I'm not really sure right now. That's something that they're running down and helping us to determine.
Going back to the bunker, just to clarify, I read reports of it being a basement that was converted into a storm shelter, but you're saying there was a carport above it. Was there any type of residence around that, or was it truly just a bunker in the ground?
It was right there by the residence. So it was adjacent, but you couldn't access it from the residence like directly. You had to go and come in the back of it.
Yeah, they're in jail. I've got all their names. It took me a minute to get their names, but I do have all of their names. And I'll show you, those of you coming in, I will show you pictures of the bunkers. Those of you coming in have missed the worst part of it, but I do want to see if some of the charges have changed or if anything has been added. So I've got all their names. We're going to look them up. It really does. Snarky pants.
It was just for clarification, this was built as a storm shelter and was used for this purpose. This was not built for this purpose.
No, ma'am, and that was one of my first questions. But no, I do believe it was built for a good thing and used for a horrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the mothers of these children? Could she be implicated as well?
The ones that aren't in jail, we're still working on that. Yeah.
Alabama.
It sounds like, Sheriff, based on what you shared with us today, this could be just the beginning of something much larger that he had sort of mentioned earlier. Do you anticipate that this is only the tip of the iceberg, so to speak?
Yes. Yes, it is an ongoing investigation. And I know it's been frustrating for a lot of people in the media that we haven't given out a lot of information or come forward with a lot of information, but with the hours that's been put in, and the urgency of getting these people before they fled, trying to turn them and not giving it a lot of attention so that they would scatter like rats. Now we're
doubt.
to the point where now we've got to uncover the possibility of more suspects
Hey,
and more
Stoic.
victims, but we've got the ones that are confirmed in custody and charged right now. So
Is there any adults, we had heard earlier that the parent of one of the children had claimed they were being trafficked as well. Is that possibility? Have you looked into that? Or are we talking about only children?
I believe that the oldest child was 15, if that's what you're referring
No, I'm
to.
thinking about the mother of those children.
The mother of her. What? Ask me that question again. I apologize.
That's interesting. Stoic said, "Hey, everybody, I heard about this yesterday. My heart is broken and I'm filled with rage and disgust yet again. And I stand with my fellow survivors here today. Thank you for that. And I'm sorry for what you've been through. For this kind of human waste, that's what we need. And you could say, Lorianne, oh, yeah. You can say, substances were involved, so maybe that's an issue. And I did talk about how one substance can make you be sexually depraved, but my God, there's other people, a lot of people who do abuse substances at some point in their life and wouldn't hurt a fly. I myself am one of them. I would never, ever, I don't care if I was using substances in that house, I would call the damn law as soon as I found out some shit like that. I'm sorry, but that's insane. And then you go there, and if you are aware, because evidently, I don't know if you remember, but back when they used to make storm shelters, it would be, your house, and then it sounds like there was a carport, and the carport had some kind of access to this bunker that sounds like it might have been under the carport. So you think about a storm shelter, just like in the Wizard of Oz, you go in and open up the two doors and you go down the steps and there's the bunker and you close the doors. So everybody that went there might not have known. It sounds like there was an elderly person living there that they were taking advantage of. Oh, God almighty. Hey, Curious Christine. What in the heck horribleness are we talking about? At least these people are alive. At least the children are alive. But other than that, other than the fact that thank God they're alive, it's the worst case I've ever heard of.
Allegations or belief that any of these moms of the children might have been trafficked as well?
That's not something I'm aware of. Chris or Justin may be able to answer that question. I'm not aware that the mothers were trafficked.
Okay.
Just to clarify, the two women charged are the mothers of these children, some of these children.
Yes.
He just said the two that were in charge were the mothers of these children.
Clarify, the two women charged are the mothers of these children, some of these children.
Yes.
Oh my God. So the two people running the fucking operation are the mothers? Jesus Christ.
I'd rather not say right now, like I say, because the children are, students at our schools here in Bibb County, and they've been through enough. And I just want to say as little as I can just to protect what little bit of privacy that they got left.
Thank God. And he's damn near in tears. They're children that go to school there, the public school system. Yes, please don't give out their name. I hope to God they don't give out them children's names. But it's not hard. When you know that at least one of the women is the mother, people are going to figure it out. But thank God they're not releasing it.
As a sheriff here and as a father, like you said, can you speak to just the severity of this case? And has there ever been anything you've experienced like this in your time working here?
I've been in law enforcement for 33 years.
Hey, Jerry.
And this is absolutely the most horrible thing I've ever seen when it comes to victimization of children.
33 years he's been sheriff. Most horrible thing he's ever seen. Right, Jerry? And congratulations on that. And we've got other people in our chat that are, recovering addicts as well, myself included. And never in a million years would I have ever hurt a child. I hurt myself doing those things. Never ever did I hurt anybody else. I hurt the stock at Walmart sometimes, but that's about it. I mean, it's just you got to have something evil in you to do some shit like this. I just will never understand. Congratulations, Jerry. Right, exactly. It's just some people are just born evil, in my opinion.
And like I say, I know God's forgiveness is boundless, but if there was a limit to it, I think we reached it. And I know there's a verse that comes to me, and it's in Matthew, I think it's 18:10. It says, "Don't offend one of these least of mine, for their angels behold the face of my Father at all times."
Curious, Christine, I don't know. What they said was that there was drugs in the house. I'm assuming it was a trap house of sorts. And there was drugs involved. I don't know if they're going to say it was because of the drugs. Some people probably will. I'm sure the offenders in this case, the adults in this case, will say, "Oh yeah, I was high and that's why I did it." I don't think it's an excuse. I am just speculating because, we hear it all too often. Oh, it was because of the drugs. It was because of the drugs. I mean, and again, it's not because of the drugs. It's because something's fucking wrong with you. And they did drug the children. Yes, they did.
And you believe that people were traveling here to Bibb County outside of Bibb County for the act?
You too, love.
A lot of the people that we have in custody right now are more local, but as the investigation goes on, hopefully we'll be able to determine if there were people traveling from out of county, out of state, or wherever to come victimize these children. So it's not something I can answer right now, but it's something these guys are diligently working on.
Do you have a message for, you said, you're expecting possible victims to come forward too. Do you have any message for those victims or the families of the victims to encourage them to come forward?
I would say no child deserves this. That's the most horrible thing you can do. The power and control of it, the stealing the innocence of a child, and the horrible victimizations they went through with these monsters.
Yep.
I would say it's like the old saying, if you see something,
Right,
say something.
Lori.
If you do think or suspect that there are children being victimized, contact us or your local law enforcement and make them aware. If it's nothing to it, we'll be glad to say it's not. But if there's something to it, God help us to protect these children.
Can you tell us about how long you think this enterprise was happening, from when to when?
The best we can determine at this point is it probably started somewhere around in 2022.
So you're talking about these children were victimized over and over and over through these years.
Yeah, and with the age range of the children, from 3 to 10, some of them come in as they got old enough to be desirable to a pedophile, I guess.
Oh,
and then some of them, their victimization started out when they were younger, and then they reached the age of 10.
And I know you said that most of these children, like the mothers, have been arrested also, but were any of these missing?
So if there was one that was as young as 3 years old, and they range in age, they range in age from 3 to 15. So for the 15-year-old, it started at what, 12? Yeah, 12. There's a 10-year-old started at what, 6 or 7, depending on the birthday, and then a 3-year-old. Yeah, there could be. They're suspecting more people involved and more charges. Hey, Amanda, it's good to see you. Please protect your peace. Anybody come in here? I don't even know what to say. I've always thought alcohol and abusive people go hand in hand. I've never blamed drugs or alcohol on evil. Evil is in your local churches too. It is. It really is. You just have no idea. It really is. Y'all got to be careful out there. I've told y'all before, we have church in our house on Sunday. We read from the Bible and we'll watch, a video for the kids and then talk about what lesson we learned from that story of the Bible, what God was trying to tell us. And, I don't do churches. Churches have people that'll preach to you on Sunday and then on Monday they're out cheating on their wives or whatever. I've always found churches to be really judgmental. But that's not the problem here. The problem here is Satan incarnate in these parents.
That's not anything that I'm aware of that they were missing, reported missing, or had been abducted or anything like that. I think the kidnapping charges would come from moving a child from one place to another, although the person that was supposed to be their caretaker knew where they were going. But just for you to move that child
You're good,
for a
Vera.
felony purpose from one place to another, that would reach the level of kidnapping.
Sheriff, Sarah Terrell, Dalton Terrell, and Ricky Terrell, are they related, and if so, how?
Yeah, they're related. I'm not sure exactly how they're related. Brothers, sisters, aunts, I don't know.
What about the children? You've been in your business, you said, a long time. What's in store for them? I know they've been taken away, they're in a safe place, but in terms of counseling, what is their immediate future going to look like?
Well, they've already been in contact with counselors, and they're getting the help they need, the medical help they need, the emotional and psychological help that we can best provide them. That for the younger kids, I'm hoping this is a blurry memory, because some of the statements of the children, they were unable to remember certain things, and then things would come to mind. And some of the older children, they'll.
Well, I'm gonna rewind that back, because that is the good thing about this. You're right, Cara. Church is where two or more people gather to praise, and you can get saved by yourself in your closet with God. So we very much live by that. I'm gonna back that up. He's referencing the children being drugged. They'll recall bits and pieces of things, but they don't remember everything, which is a blessing in disguise. Thank God for that.
Younger kids, I'm hoping this is a blurry memory, because some of the statements of the children, they were unable to remember certain things, and then things would come to mind. And some of the older children, they'll carry this vividly for the rest of their lives. So all we can do is the best we can by them to help them get past this. You can't heal from this, but you can move on as best you can. And we're going to see, along with the Department of Human Resources, that these children get everything they can to have the best life that they can.
Amen. God bless them.
So they were leaving and going to school and having that
Mm-hmm.
life also.
Yes.
Are there any, adults other than their parents or so-called caretakers that maybe fail these children, school officials, anything like that? And could they be criminally liable for this?
Not that I'm aware of, because normally, and with our school system, if something's going on or something looks out of place, they call us immediately, because we have a very good working relationship with them, as we do DHR. It's a small county. They'll call my cell phone and say, hey, Jody, this little girl's missed 3 days of school, and she's had some bruises when she come in, and then we'll stick the dogs on them then. But we work very well with them. I'm not sure there was any indication. And, as in any case like this, sometimes the victims are reluctant to come forward. They're afraid they're going to get in trouble. Their victimizers have control over them. They are their caretakers, and they still some care about their parents.
But no report has come from school.
And that's hard to come to terms with if you're a child in this situation and that's all you've ever known, and you're taught that if you do this, then mama will take you shopping or buy you candy or whatever ways they use to manipulate these children. It's so sad and it's so hard, because you get the child out and you try to save them and show them a better life, and then some of them are just like, no, I want my mama, I want, because they're so just abused and victimized in a way, and that's their mama, that's their daddy, that's their, it's their trafficker, but it's a, what is it, it's not Munchausen by proxy, it's a Stockholm syndrome, I do believe. Sad situation. Sad situation. I'm sorry, Amanda. We had a little girl who had been adopted, and her adopted family had to treat this. Oh, Jesus. That's horrible, Alex. God bless them. Yeah, imagine thinking it's okay or acceptable or anything. Like, oh my God. That's a whole nother beast to battle. And the child doesn't understand. Some of them, like the 3-year old's not going to understand none of this. Yep, trauma bonded to evil. Exactly.
Or anybody else
Oh,
I do not think that there was anything at the school that would have led anybody there to think that there was anything wrong at home. They would certainly have contacted us immediately. I can promise you.
What about you guys? Counseling made available to these gentlemen, or perhaps even you?
If they had time, they would probably get some. They have been wide open. I guarantee you, they've seen these poor children more than they've seen their own. They were calling me last night after we met for a couple hours yesterday. They were calling me last night at midnight, giving me updates on what was going on and talking about their concerns. And, you know, we met at my house so we could just kind of sit and talk and then give me some more updates on the case in preparation for this conference. And then, of course, we had a lot of personal talks. And it's hard to sit there and talk to your chief investigator while he's holding your 9-month-old about something horrible that happened to another little child that doesn't have as good as ours do.
Can we hear from either one of them? If they're okay with it, are you okay with them just telling us how it's been for them through these months of investigation?
That is absolutely up to Justin and Chris. Chris?
And a request is, could you step in?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
this is one of the officers directly involved in the case, from what I understand.
Just give us your name again real quick in case anybody missed it before.
I'm Christopher Poole.
How long have you been with the sheriff's department?
I started the sheriff's office in 2017.
So just, what's this been like for you?
It's been heartbreaking. It's been heartbreaking. It's very sad. We don't want to see any children ever have to go through this. As Sheriff said, we all have children of our own. God puts.
I hope that they're incarcerated for the rest of their damn lives, and it sounds like that sheriff's going to do everything he can to make sure they are, Miss King.
Us at the place that we need to be put at that time, and I think me and
I'm going to back that up.
it's been heartbreaking. It's been heartbreaking. It's very sad. We don't want to see any children ever have to go through this. As Sheriff said, we all have children of our own. God puts us at the place that we need to be put at that time, and I think me and Justin, our agency, has been put there, and we're going to do everything we can. And my only message to
Oh, don't cut out right then.
fighting for y'all, we're going to help you find it. We're going to help you find it, and we're going to put everybody who has done any wrong to any child in this county away. Our sheriff is very supportive of that.
So he said to the victims out there, if there are victims out there and you hear this, he said that any victim, please know that if anybody has hurt you or anybody that has hurt a child, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure they're put away for a long time and they can't hurt you again.
Notified him immediately of this. He immediately told us, go and handle it. Go handle it. You investigate it to the fullest. And that's what we intend on doing.
How do you leave this out the door when you go home and not take it home to your own kids and your wife?
This has not gone to trial yet. This just happened earlier this week. They got busted. Thank you, Curious Christine. I appreciate that compliment. Yeah, I mean, just looking at him, his eyes are watering. I mean, he does, like somebody said just a minute ago, he looks like he's been to Vietnam. I could not imagine. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't do it. I damn sure couldn't. I mean, I talk about wanting to damn snatch Jennifer Soto up. Jesus. I'd catch a murder charge. I wouldn't have, they wouldn't have made it to jail. None of them. That's why God didn't make me a police officer.
You got to keep the faith. Faith is a
Try
strong
to,
thing
Southern.
that you got to keep through this.
Chris, at what point during the investigation did you and your partner, perhaps even the sheriff, realize this is going to be a lot bigger than what we thought? Was it day one back in February? At what point did you realize this was huge?
Yeah, so
I'm so
in
sorry,
February,
Cub.
we knew any child abuse is serious to us. But we noticed that it started getting bigger the second arrest that we made. Once we was interviewing Dalton Terrell, he ended up giving us a lot of information, and we started investigating a lot more.
Have all of the suspects confessed?
Multiple ones of the suspects have confessed. there is a couple that is not.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Just say your name for us real quick.
My name is Justin Hobbs.
Okay, and how long have you been with the sheriff's?
I've been with the sheriff's office about a year now.
Just tell us what this has been like.
Hard to put into words, honestly. It's hard to put into words. It's hard to describe.
I mean, the sheriff has said this is the worst case against children he's ever seen, and he's been doing it a lot longer than you. So this could be the worst thing you've ever seen, and you've only been here a year. So
Mother Sleuth, I completely forgot about that. This is very hard. You're coming in on like the worst of the worst. So I want to give you a trigger warning. Yeah, he's so young. He's only been there a damn year, y'all. And this is what he's seen in a year. Yeah, how did the sentencing go, Mother?
it's got to be pretty shocking to deal with.
I would agree with that. Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to share with us any expressions from the children once they realized they had been rescued?
I would prefer not to, just to protect the innocence of the children and their well-being.
How do you not take this home? I mean, how do you leave it at work when work seems to last a long time anyway?
I would say 6 years in the Army taught me very well to leave it at the house and try not to take it home.
As somebody that lives in this community and
Could you imagine being an Army vet and seeing some things like that? Like you were 6 years in the Army, then you've been a year on the police force and being trained to kill, going in and seeing some shit like that. Oh, man. Nope. They'd be dead. And I'd be going to jail.
like she said, you've only been doing this for a year now. What kind of sentiment do you have to say to people outside this county to let them know that this isn't?
I can't hardly hear this one. Real quick, Mother Sleuth said that Lori got 2 more life sentences and $250,000 fine just in case she ever gets money. That's good to know. Mother Sleuth, thank you for letting us know.
Everybody here. You know, this is such a dark and twisted thing, but it's not all of Bibb County, correct?
That's correct. This is a beautiful county. It's filled with a lot of natural beauties. We have things here that you won't find anywhere else in Alabama. You have the Cahaba lily, which is the shoal lily that you see on the Cahaba. I've met people from Indiana, Wisconsin, Maine that have come here for college trips to see those things and the beauty that's here, and the people here are great. So,
Justin, are you able to address whether y'all are having to make special arrangements with the suspect to put him in solitary confinement and or any of the suspects on suicide watch?
I don't think that's something I'll be able to answer. Not at this time. I wouldn't know that information.
Are you able to clarify if Dalton Terrell is related to Rich Terrell and Sarah Terrell?
I think refer to how the sheriff answered the question is probably best.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Anything you want to finish with, Sheriff, or do you feel like you got everything in there you needed to?
I think that about covers it, unless y'all have any other questions. I mean, the guys have done a great job. I'm very proud of them. They're doing awesome. He's got many years in law enforcement. He's just been with us for a year right now. So they're very good. They're very capable. And unfortunately, the only credit I can take in this case is hiring the right men to do the job. They've done great.
Based on what you know, you don't have to speak at the mic, but based on what you know at this point, do you anticipate another round of arrests before Friday, like another?
Okay.
Well,
now it's gonna. I'm looking up the offenders now to see if any more charges have been brought. I will be reading out their charges. It's gonna be hard to hear. Hold on a minute. Let me do it this way. I'm going to have to take it down and bring it up. All right. First name we have that I wrote down. Oh, no. Hold on. William Chase McElroy is the first name. E-L-R-O-Y. Okay, let me bring it back up. Oh, is this not? Hold on. If it asks me to pay for it, then I'm not going to do that. I was looking for I'm going to try it again if this one wants me to pay. Okay, hold on. We're going to try it this way. I like to share with y'all how I do this stuff so you know how to do it. So now I'm just looking for the Bibb County Jail. It says Bibb County Sheriff.us. I'm going to try that one. Information regarding offenders currently incarcerated is made available as public service and in interest of public safety. It's important to note that a person's incarceration does not necessarily indicate they have been convicted of a crime. They hold all who are awaiting trial. Okay, so let me put in names. I'm gonna actually I can do it better this way. Is that one? Yeah, okay. So I'll just cover it while I type it in because it likes to drop stuff. William Chase McElroy. McElroy. I'll take that off now. Okay, I know it's William Chase McElroy. Why don't we have them? McElroy. We in Bibb County. Y'all, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Bibb County Jail. I mean, it's the same one. Here. This one says today's arrest information. Okay, we got Brewer, Terrell, St. John, Trejo, Vasquez, Terrell, and McElroy. Well, how do we search? All right, I'm going to put an overlay up and then I'll try some of the other names. Let me close out all this. Let me try some of the other names. Dalton Terrell. Terrell. Okay. There's his. Okay. Christopher Scott Terrell is who we got, but they're putting him as Dalton Terrell. Let's see what that one says. No, that's a burglary. So they don't have them in there, maybe? This is Georgia. God almighty. Why is it bringing up Georgia when I specifically type in Alabama? Good Lord. I feel like I ain't got my shit together. Okay, so now that we've searched and know for a fact that that's damn Georgia, even though it's telling me it's Alabama. Let's see what this is. That's the one I just did, so it's not that one that costs money. See, some of them are like ads. Inmate aid. Okay, so is it this one? Bibb County Jail is county jail for offenders. You can search and locate your inmate by typing in their last name, first name to get information. Looking for an inmate. Okay. I got to take this down because it likes to put up like information. So hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up and then okay, MCELORI. MCELROY. Okay, we've got something. Anthony Davis. Dalton McElroy. Oh my God. That's not found. Let me try one more before I pull it back up. See if it's going to pull it up. Dalton. Lord have mercy. Told you, I've been having a bad day. I told y'all. TERRELL. No results found. Well, fine then. We'll just go to the article since I'm having such a damn problem with that. All right, I'm going to read off the charges again, I guess. Oh, look, a squirrel. I don't think there's anything in the back chat. Somebody say that they sent me something, I don't know. Hey, glitter is forever. Y'all, it has been a bad day. It's been a damn bad day. All right, we're going to go through the article again. I'll read the charges that way. And show you the pictures of the bunker. So, during the press conference, Bibb County Sheriff Jody Wade identified the newly arrested individuals as Rebecca Brewer, Ricky Terrell, and Sarah Lewis Terrell. Sheriff Wade detailed the charges against each suspect, noting that charges are still pending for Brewer, Ricky Terrell, and Sarah Lewis Terrell. William Chase McElroy is charged with 4 counts of first-degree RAPE, 6 counts of first-degree sodomy, 6 counts of human trafficking, 4 counts of first-degree human trafficking. Dalton Terrell faces 5 counts of first-degree RAPE, 7 counts of first-degree sodomy, 6 counts of human trafficking, and 4 counts of first-degree kidnapping. Anders Trejo Velasquez is charged with 6 counts of human trafficking. Timothy St. John was taken into custody on Tuesday, facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of first-degree RAPE, 4 counts of sodomy, 4 counts of human trafficking, 3 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of bestiality, and 1 count of cruelty to animals. Brewer faces 8 counts of human trafficking, 8 counts of first-degree human trafficking, and 3 counts of sexual torture. Ricky Terrell is charged with 1 count of rape, with additional charges pending. Sarah Lewis Terrell is charged with 1 count of sexual torture and 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child less than 12 years old. Victims in the case range from ages 3 to 15, with some offenders being parents of the victims, authorities said. Sheriff Wade also revealed that one of the suspects has ties to a gang known for profiting from child sex crimes. And I'll show y'all the bunker again. There's the images of the bunker. I don't understand who goes down there and like does things like this. Maybe. I don't know, Mother Sleuth. I know, Dolly. I know. I worry about that as well. Mm. All right, I'm going to try to look on Google real quick and see if there's any updates. Got 2 days, 19 hours. Someone said, I don't understand it. Let's see what this one says. Okay. We can watch this article after watch this video after the ad. I'll have to work on, I've already submitted a FOIA request in this case, but of course it's going to be very, very redacted because the children. How do people get like this? I don't understand. The fact that there's some family members with, like, there's a family of some sort with several members of the family participating. I definitely think that one was generational, but the rest of it, I don't know. And even at that, do you not grow up and get out of it? Or say, I don't know. I can't fathom. I can't fathom. Hey, sweet. Again, this is a horrific case, so I'm just giving you a warning now. There's a picture of it. So wait a minute now. Is this the residence? Like this little fucking looks like a room with a door, and then this is the carport? Like, is that y'all? Is that it? You can't hear anything. Okay, thank you. I don't know how to make it. Okay. Hold on. Let me try to pull it up this way. Let me see if I can do it this way. I don't know if it's going to work. No, it's going to be all messed up. Hmm. Let me try it again. Y'all, though, real quick. Look at that. Like, that appears to be the house. Yeah. Hey, Simone, a horrible case. Like, what I mean, that's like a freaking door to what looks like a porch or something. There's two little windows. Like, that's not a house. Like, what the hell even is that? And then there's the carport, and I guess the bunker's under there? I'm confused. Yeah, that is a nightmare movie set. Wrong turn type of thing. All right, I'm going to back it up and try it again and see if y'all can hear it. I'm going to watch. Let me know if you can hear it.
Developments in the Bibb County sex abuse case. 7 suspects total now charged with abusing 10 children. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office sharing chilling details as the investigation continues to unfold. WVTM 13's Aaron Llewellyn has been following this story for us.
Okay,
he
good.
shares the outrage from Brent residents who can't believe this is happening in their community.
Shocking new details in the Bibb County sex abuse case.
It made me feel disgusted.
The Bibb County Sheriff's Office releasing a picture on Wednesday. It's the first look inside the bunker where at least 10 children were sexually abused.
Sometimes the children would be there, tied to a pole that was there, bound to a bed that was there, or in a chair that was there. Sometimes there would be multiple people that would come by and victimize these children on a nightly basis.
Sheriff Jody Wade says the abuse started as early as 2022.
I would probably have to have therapy myself, or I might be wearing orange in Bibb County Jail.
That's where these 7 suspects are now, facing a range of charges from rape, sodomy, and bestiality to human trafficking and kidnapping.
I wish they would let them out and let Bibb County citizens take care of them.
This woman said she didn't want to show her face or give us her name out of fear. Wade says this operation could be gang-related, and the ringleader, Andreas Trejo, may be the link.
I know a couple of the boys, and it surprises me. I can't believe that it was like just not far from where my sister lives, actually, and she has kids.
The Bibb County Sheriff's Office says some of the suspects are parents to some of the children involved. Mary Hicks has 14 grandchildren and says if that were her grandkids, she would be in jail by now.
That's wrong. I killed my own child with my grandchild. That's wrong.
Wade tells us the suspect's main source of income was sex trafficking, and the children were used to make up to $1,000 in one night.
I couldn't imagine doing that to my kid. If I need the money, I'm going to go out here and work. If you need the money that bad to do that to your kid.
Using drugs to sedate them, all while adults took advantage of them.
No child deserves this. That's the most horrible thing you can do, the power and control of it, the stealing the innocence of a child and the horrible victimizations they went through with these monsters.
Now, this case is still being investigated, but we are expecting new details tomorrow, and so we will bring that to you as soon as we get it on air and online. For now, we're in Brent. Aaron Llewellyn, WVTM 13.
Damn.
Well, good.
Right. Isn't she? I mean, what do you even say to that shit when you find out something like that has happened? They're known as the Bibb County 7 if y'all want to keep tabs on them. I'm going to see if there's anything else real quick on that before we move on to other things. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything new as of today. 7, yeah, just them saying that 7 have been arrested. That appears to have maybe a better picture of the house. This shows a different house, so maybe that's it. Maybe we should watch this real quick. Let's see what this one is, because it shows a different house, so maybe that is something off from the house.
Men facing serious.
Let me know if y'all can't hear it.
Charges in a disturbing case
out of Bibb County. And these allegations, well,
I don't know,
they
man.
may be tough to hear about. We're learning more about these men who were charged in connection to the...
Look at him. Fucking sick. William McElroy, Andres Trejo Velasquez, Dalton Terrell.
Alleged sex abuse of children in an underground bunker in the Brent community. Court records say there are at least 6 victims who range
heard
in
about
age
that.
from 3 to 10 years old.
Wow, those details are really disgusting. Your reporter, Anjanae Robinson, is live at 5 after talking with the Assistant District Attorney.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. Jonathan, you know what makes this case even more heartbreaking is what Assistant District Attorney Brian Jones, he says that they were tipped off that something wasn't right. Now, he tells me that the children, they actually revealed that they were being abused, which launched this entire investigation that's currently still ongoing.
So the children, one of the victims was brave enough to come forward and say something. Thank God.
Now, so far, Andres Velasquez, Dalton Terrell, and William McElroy, they are charged in this case with 20 to 22 charges each, including rape, sodomy, kidnapping, and human trafficking. Now, Jones says that the children were drugged and taken to a storm shelter in Brent, used as a bunker where the abuse allegedly took place.
So what is this picture of? Is that the house? And then where is it says, she said drugged and taken to a bunker where the abuse took place. Is that, I mean, what is this? Is that one of the residents of the people involved?
Now, this video here on your screen right now, this is the neighborhood where one of the suspects lived. This is not where the bunker was located, but the suspects are accused of paying to sexually abuse these children. Jones says investigators expect more victims to come forward and more arrests are likely. Now, the children are now in DHR custody, and DA Jones also confirmed a 4th person has been indicted in connection to this case. His name not currently being released at this time, as authorities are still searching for him.
So this was before they had all of them, but this is where one of them resided. Miss Scorpio, thank you for gifting a membership. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. That went to Rose Shields. Rose, if you are here and you are aware Miss Scorpio gifted you, please tell Miss Scorpio thank you. Thank you again, Miss Scorpio. And I will grab the crazy train to pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you, Miss Scorpio. Cara said, oh, they had a storefront. Jesus. I need prayers today. My daughter's 30th birthday and she got bad news regarding her pregnancy. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Edith. I will definitely say some prayers for her and for everything that's going on. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. I'm so sorry, Edith. Thank you again, Miss Scorpio. I'm so sorry. Oh, no, you're okay, Cara.
Well, it's just unimaginable that someone could do this to a child. Children are defenseless and they depend on adults to take care of them and protect them. And then when adults do these type of things to them, it's just really horrific.
Just a horrible situation out of Bibb County here. Now, DA Jones, he does tell me that, any of these suspects who are convicted of a crime involving a child 6 years or younger, Alabama law does require mandatory minimum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I'm so excited. I paused 3 times. Thank God for that. So if they're charged anything involving a child sex crime with a child under 6, it is required life without the possibility of parole. Thank God. Thank God. Oh, I'm sorry, Edith. I'm so sorry. Right, Amy? Thank God. So they're looking at life without the possibility of parole.
The DA said unimaginable. And Just heartbreaking. Anjane, you did have a chance to talk to a neighbor about this. So what was their reaction?
Well, Sarah, that video that we had showed earlier, that was a neighborhood where one of the suspects did live. And I did speak with a woman who's also a mother. And, you know, she, of course, told me how horrific this situation was to hear. And she's, of course, glad that all of these suspects are now in custody and off the streets. Your reporter in Bibb County, Anjane Robinson, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
Okay.
Did you know the concept of a 4-year college?
Please stop. Okay. So that was the case out of Arkansas. I keep saying Arkansas, Alabama. I am going to try to get the information that I can get on that and follow that case. I just found it horrific and saw that nobody else was talking about it because of what we're going to talk about next. So I've got some more information on Brian Koberger in that case. Not necessarily Brian Koberger. I haven't pulled those records yet. I've just been so busy with real life stuff going on. And I'm going to work on getting those for y'all and putting those documents on my Patreon. I've got several I need to upload to Patreon. So I am going to work on that. But I don't know. I'm sure y'all remember Alivea Goncavles' case. Victim impact statement. I saw that News Nation did an interview with her afterwards, so I thought that maybe we could watch that. So let's see what that says.
Not because of like a fear. You see, like.
I'm sure all of you remember her speech. What's in the, hey, Hio. Good to see you. What is the idea of such atrocities? I don't know. How could any attorney defend any of these? They have to, unfortunately. Okay, so Alivea Goncavles gave the best victim impact statement I've ever heard in my life, and News Nation interviewed her, and so we're going to see what she has to say about it.
What did you see? Like, I've never been able to see him that way.
Yeah,
you know?
I've never seen him in that capacity either. Even in times that I've been in the courtroom with him or watching like the live stream, I purposefully avoid, not because of like a fear or anything, just because I don't feel like he deserves it, right? Like,
hey, Rubber.
I try not to focus my time on this individual. But my speech wasn't to Kaylee and Maddie, it was for them. And if Kaylee and Maddie had been here today, it was something that I feel like would have rung true to them.
She said it wasn't to Kaylee and Maddie, it was for Kaylee and Maddie.
So I wanted to maintain that eye contact as much as I possibly could. And when I tell you, there's not a human there, right? I'm not scared of this individual. I'm not intimidated by him. Truly, I'm not. But when I tell you there's a primal sense of alarms, like my body was telling me, run, get out. This is a threat. The best description I can give you is like if I had come face to face with an alien, because back behind there, there's no human being, there's no humanity.
Did he show?
Wow. I would be proud to have her as a sister too. Hey, Ryan. Wow, that's yeah, really heavy. Like standing there looking at the man who committed such a horrible atrocity on your sister. I mean, he does. He looks like he's an alien, and there is nothing behind his eyes. I mean, she's very, very, very accurate about that. He is like a robot. Kara said usually they aren't allowed to speak directly to the defendant. And they're not. I think that the Gonzalez family was like, nope, I'm talking directly to him. Well, true, but he's like a robot. She says, you're not a man. Yep, because he's not. A man wouldn't do that.
Anything? Did he show any acknowledgement of what you were saying?
I think it's difficult for me to view that, because I think that that would be more of like a looking back in hindsight type deal. But for me, it was just one-on-one. Like, and I was ready to stand on business, right? Like I was there. There was nothing that was going to make me back down from that moment. And all I felt was rage. Almost from the very, very beginning, all I felt was rage. At one point in my speech, when I'm speaking more to how I'm trying to say this was an impact statement, I'm more so directed towards the judge, and I turn my body in that direction. And I could feel that specific stare the entire time. It was unrelenting. And all I remember feeling really was like, this guy's pissed.
I think you.
Oh, I think he was very pissed the way she was talking to him and tore him apart, because she told him about himself. You can't clock in. I'm standing on business. Yeah, you're not special. You're not unique. You're not somebody to be studied. That cut him to his soul.
You showed him and the other family members too that you had the power. I think that was clear.
My whole purpose of that speech was taking back this power and giving it back to Kaylee and Maddie, Xana and Ethan as well. But for me and my personal connection to Kaylee and Maddie as my sisters, I wanted to give them the hero moment that I truly feel like they deserve. Throughout this whole process, he has controlled so much of the narrative, and it's been focused around him, his name, his actions. And I understand it. But in my shoes, it pisses me off at times, because you see Idaho students, University of Idaho students, his name victims, or just the headline of his name. And it's so frustrating, because it's like, they have names. Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin. Say it. You know, you take the time to say his name. Say theirs. I understand it's 4. I understand it takes a second. But you owe them that. So for me, it was about taking back that control from him, best that I could, getting under his skin as best as I psychologically could with my limited understanding of what he is, and giving it back to the victims the best that I could. And it was all genuine. It was all incredibly true. Everything that I've said, that I did say, I think was accurate to who he is, who they were. And I truly do believe Kaylee would have kicked his ass.
Did you want him to speak? Were you frustrated that he didn't speak? Did it really matter at that point?
I don't think.
Well, if we're going to watch it again, I'll pause it here and we can come back and watch that again, so you get the understanding of what she's talking about. Hold on. Alivea Goncalves. I've got it on my live from yesterday, but okay.
Hello, I'd like to start by thanking the court for allowing me the time and opportunity to speak today. My name is Alivea, and I'm the big sister of Kaylee Goncalves, and I was blessed to love Madison Mogen as a sister too.
She's standing right here up in the top right-hand corner, and then you see Brian on these two. There's the judge.
I'm not here today to speak in grief. I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be. Loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about Kaylee and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached them in their everyday lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. Because the truth is, I'm angry. Every day I'm angry. I'm left shouting at the inside of my own head everything I wish I could say to you. The truth about me is when I heard the news, I didn't cry. I listened for them. I promised them I would, that I would fight for them, that I would show up no matter what it cost me. I swore I'd never let them feel alone. Because you see, I've always been their heavyweight. I've always been the one to fight the battles they didn't feel ready to fight themselves. All it ever took was a call, and they knew I would handle it for them, no matter the time, no matter the cost. They could wave their white flag because they knew I would never back down, not for them. And not even death could change that. Somewhere along the line, I started to think about what I would say to them if I was given just one last chance. If I could gather enough heartbreak or love or sacrifice or whatever it took to get just one message across, what would I say? Throughout this entire process, I've written my feelings down at every moment, my wishes, my love, my denial, my anger. And as one final act of love, I'd planned to read these thoughts, even jarring and discombobulating and not even making sense. Because for me, that was true love. As bare and as naked as it could be, not laced in pretty words or dressed for the occasion, but written through bleary eyes at 2 a.m. with clenched fists, angry at this reality. My true final act of love was to continue on without them, for them. That dream to read aloud my love to them, to bring meaning through pain, was the latest blow in realizing you don't deserve it. And Kaylee and Maddie don't need it. Kaylee and Maddie have always known my love, and they would never ask me to prove it by further victimizing myself to a defendant who has shown no guilt, no remorse, no apprehension. They would say to me, "Why would you give the satisfaction of showing vulnerability now? You promised you would never back down." And for that clarity, I'm thankful. I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters? Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? How does it feel to know the only thing you failed more miserably at than being a murderer is trying to be a rapper? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months. If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you? Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see. You didn't create devastation. You revealed it in yourself. And that darkness you carry, that emptiness, you'll sit with it long after this is over. That is your sentence. And it was written on the wall long before you ever pled guilty. You didn't win. You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else. Constantly scolding, turning your nose up to grammar mistakes, nitpicking and criticizing others. You wanted so badly to be different, to be special, to be better, to be deep, to be mysterious. You found yourself thinking you were better than everyone else, and you thought you could figure out the human psyche and see through it, all while tweaked out on heroin. Lurking in the shadows made you feel powerful because no one ever paid you any attention in the light. You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that effort just to seem important. It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. You orchestrated this like you thought you were God. Now look at you, begging a courtroom for scraps. You spent months preparing, and still all it took was my sister in a sheath. You work so hard to seem dangerous, but real control doesn't have to prove itself. The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was her speech.
Let me start.
So we'll go back to her interview afterwards now and watch it from the beginning.
What did you see? Like, I've never been able to see him that way.
Yeah,
you know?
I've never seen him in that capacity either. Even in times that I've been in the courtroom with him or watching like the live stream, I purposefully avoid, not because of like a fear or anything, just because I don't feel like he deserves it, right? Like I try not to focus my time on this individual. But my speech wasn't to Kaylee and Maddie, it was for them. And if
I really feel that because like she dropped bombs with that speech. She does get a standing ovation. The youngest one said, "You might have got straight A's in class, but you're going to be taking big D's in prison." And I mean, their father chewed him up and spit him out. Her mother's chewed him up and spit him out. I mean, all the victim impact statements were really good, but hers was the best. And I think everybody was just blown away with what she wrote. So she got this interview, and I was curious to see what else she had to say about it.
Kaylee and Maddie had been here today, it was something
Yep.
that I feel like would have rung true to them. So I wanted to maintain that eye contact as much as I possibly could. And when I tell you, there's not a human there, right? I'm not scared of this individual. I'm not intimidated by him. Truly, I'm not. But when I tell you there's a primal sense of alarms, like my body was telling me, run, get out. This is a threat. The best description I can give you is like if I had come face to face with an alien, because back behind there, there's no human being, there's no humanity.
Did he show anything? Did he show any acknowledgement of what you were saying?
I think it's difficult for me to view that because I think that that would be more of like a looking back in hindsight type deal. But for me, it was just one-on-one. Like, and I was ready to stand on business, right? Like I was there. There was nothing that was going to make me back down from that moment. And all I felt was rage.
I mean, and I think we could tell that all she felt was rage. But I mean, she really put him in his place. Hey, Parabola, we're watching Alivea Goncavles' statement after her speech yesterday.
Almost from the very, very beginning, all I felt was rage. At one point in my speech, when I'm speaking more to how I'm trying to say this was an impact statement, I'm more so directed towards the judge, and I turn my body in that direction. And I could feel that specific stare the entire time. It was unrelenting. And all I remember feeling really was like, this guy's pissed.
I think you showed him and the other family members too that you had the power. I think that was clear.
My whole purpose of that speech was taking back this power and giving it back to Kaylee and Maddie, Xana and Ethan as well. But for me and my personal connection to Kaylee and Maddie as my sisters, I wanted to give them the hero moment that I truly feel like they deserve. Throughout this whole process, he has controlled so much of the narrative, and it's been focused around him, his.
And that's true, and we saw that in Stern's case too. They everything is focused around them, their narrative, and then we saw Stearns take back any kind of I don't even know, dignity from Maddie with his victim impact statement. Simone said, this was a very astonishing and necessary dialogue. The curt forwarded attention gave rise to a plateau of greatness, and I am speechless. Is that the first time that you had seen that? Simone, it was an amazing speech. He's a psychopath. He's devoid of any kinds of emotions related to kindness, love, compassion, and empathy. The only emotion he can feel is disdain and rage. I agree, SD. Right. Stearns took the last word with his victim impact statement, and I hope he rots where he's at now. And his mother might get a little bit more attention here and there on YouTube, but she's going to fade into the distance, and nobody's going to remember her or how she felt or what she said. Everybody's going to remember her pedophile son, though. I feel really sorry sometimes for these parents of people that come out because, oh yeah, you're real popular and everybody wants to talk to you while the case is going on. But after it's gone to trial, they'll throw you away. I don't know. I don't like it. But back to Brian Koberger. He deserved every bit of that and more. And I've never, ever been so moved by a victim impact statement as I was this one.
Name, his actions. And I understand it. But in my shoes, it pisses me off at times because you see Idaho students, University of Idaho students, his name victims, or just the headline of his name. And it's so frustrating because it's like, they have names. Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin. Say it. You know, you take the time to say his name, say theirs. I understand it's 4, I understand it takes a second, but you owe them that. So for me, it was about taking back that control from him, best that I could, getting under his skin as best as I psychologically could with my limited understanding of what he is, and giving it back to the victims the best that I could. And it was all genuine. It was all incredibly true. Everything that I've said, that I did say, I think was accurate to who he is, who they were. And I truly do believe Kaylee would have kicked his ass.
I think everything she said was accurate too, and I believe Kaylee would have kicked his ass too. They should lose their names and be forgotten, and they will with time.
Did you want him to speak? Were you frustrated that he didn't speak? Did it really matter at that point?
I don't think it really matters.
Hey, Sonny.
To be honest, I thought it was funny that he respectfully declines, as if he's still so desperate for that approval from an authority figure. But it really didn't bother me, and it definitely wasn't unexpected. I think anything he would have said would have been fake, disingenuous,
Right,
a
Lori?
lie, or dug his grave further.
We were able to get, I think it was like 250 pages so far of documents, stuff, a lot that you found out, I think, the day before.
Yeah, we asked very directed, pointed questions. We sent them over the night before,
Yeah.
just to kind of try to streamline things, allow them to come prepared. There wasn't a whole lot of open discussion. So a lot of stuff that I've seen come out of the docs, the stuff that maybe we didn't know.
Thank you for watching.
God, I don't know why they got to scream at the end of those. Okay, I've got one more video on Brian Koberger that I saw that was relatively new, and it talks about it says 9 creepy things Brian Koberger said, and talking about some of the evidence that has come out. I am going to work on getting this evidence at some point today, or requesting it. I don't know.
We're getting an inside look now inside
what it will say, but I wanted to watch this with you guys before we finish for the day. Simone said, all I can say is she was made for this encounter with this creature of darkness. The strength she has warranted this. I could feel her strength and listen to its truth. I mean, the speech will give you goosebumps every time. She should do a TED Talk. I hope she becomes a prosecutor because I think she would make an amazing prosecutor. SD said he was very savvy and constantly scrubbing his hard drive and phones. FBI specialists were only able to recover very little. Hence, investigators couldn't find any online connections to the victims. I didn't know that. I bet there were. Oh, Beach Bum, we're still going to watch this. It's like 30 minutes, so. Yeah, it's been a crazy day for me. So, I am going to finish. Well, I mean, we've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes at this point, so I guess it won't be real early. Probably about 3 hours. All right.
convicted killer Brian Koberger's first ever talk with police. Koberger admitted he watched the news coverage of the Idaho 4 murders. He described a fascination with criminology, demanded answers from detectives, and even asked for his mom. We're breaking down the 9 most eerie revelations from convicted killer Brian Koberger's first conversation with police. This is Scandal, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Sierra Gillespie. To get into today's story, I want to make a quick announcement. Law and Crime needs your help. We want to create something and let us know your thoughts. The link is in the description and pinned comment. All right, back to the story. Today, we're talking about convicted killer Brian Koberger's very first conversation with police. And we're learning new details about what exactly happened after Koberger's arrest nearly 3 years ago.
I just dropped their link in chat if you guys want to check them out without my commentary.
When Brian Koberger first spoke to police, he confirmed he knew about the University of Idaho quadruple murders. He commented on his arrest and even asked detectives what they knew and what questions they wanted to ask him. All these details are coming out now because of Koberger's recent conviction in the quadruple murder that shocked the nation. On November 13th, 2022, the bodies of Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were found at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, not far from the University of Idaho campus. The details of the murders are shocking. Some of them were so brutally attacked that they were unrecognizable when police found them. For those of you who've been following the case from the very beginning, you know there wasn't an arrest for weeks. There were updates, though. Investigators released the now infamous sketch of the suspect. They released photos of a white Hyundai Elantra they believed was connected to the case, and they made small updates to their YouTube channel like this one.
Well, this investigation is not cold. We get tips every day that are viable. We get dozens and dozens of tips. We sort through them, we prioritize them. Eventually, we're going to narrow in on exactly what happened and who did it.
It was a shock.
So I didn't know that it took them so long to get Brian. I knew that it was like at least a week or so, but I mean, they make me feel like it was a couple of months or something. I think she said a couple of weeks. Oh my God. And I've heard that the Gonzalez family helped like with some of the information and help finding some of the clues or something to that effect. 6 weeks? Lord have mercy. I had no idea. I thought it was a week, maybe 2 at the most. 6 weeks? Jeez Louise. The Scorpio said it was like 2 months. Dolly said he almost looks like the older version of the Sandy Hook shooter. He does kind of. Those kids are so beautiful. We lost a great bunch of them too soon. Life is precious, so treat others with the dignity they deserve. Amen. Kelly says 6 weeks. Miss Scorpio says 6 weeks. That's crazy. I thought it was like maybe 2 weeks at the most. Like I said, I know about this case, but I didn't follow it very closely.
Then, when police finally made an arrest on the other side of the country, the suspect, a man named Brian Koberger, a student at Washington State University, just a short drive from the University of Idaho and the crime scene. But Koberger wasn't arrested in Washington State or even Idaho. Instead, he was arrested in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, an unincorporated community in the Pocono Mountains. Koberger, it turned out, was from the Keystone State, but he was studying at Washington State University. He was back home for winter break when he was arrested on December 30th, 2022. And here's where that new information comes in.
Okay, he was arrested on December 30th. That means that he got one last Christmas with his family, but these victims didn't. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. He got Christmas of 2022 with his family, but Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Kaylee Gonzalez didn't get that Christmas with their family. That makes me mad.
After Koberger's conviction and sentencing on July 23rd, hundreds of documents were released from the investigation, including this one. Now, it's written from the perspective of Moscow police detective Brett Payne, who made his way to Albrightsville, Pennsylvania on December 29th, 2022, just one day ahead of Koberger's arrest. And here's straight from the court docs, quote, "After several coordination meetings, Detective Gilbertson, S.A. Shirley, and I drove to the Pennsylvania State Police Barracks at Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, to await the arrival of Koberger after his arrest and to interview him upon his arrival." Remember that name, Detective Gilbertson, because it's going to come up a lot in this interview. Now, after investigators were ready to go, the warrant had been executed at the Koberger's home. Brian Koberger was arrested. Then the interview began. At approximately 0200 hours on December 30th, 2022, Koberger was brought to the PSP Stroudsburg Barracks and placed in an interview room. The interview was recorded on the built-in video system at the barracks, as well as Detective Gilbertson's pocket recorder. I have to pause really quick to thank Odoo for sponsoring this story.
Nope.
Day at odoo.com/LC News Manufacturing. When Koberger met the investigators, right away he said something kind of bizarre. When I stated who I was, Koberger stated, "You do look familiar," meaning Brian Koberger already recognized Detective Payne. More on that later. Before the interview even began, Detective Gilbertson read Koberger his Miranda rights advisement. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger if he understood his rights, to which he replied he did. And then the questions started. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger about the SWAT operation at the house, to which Koberger replied he was concerned about his parents and
Hey,
his
Cindy.
dog. After that, conversation switched to small talk, specifically Koberger's education and his field of study. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger if he was going to Washington State University, to which he replied he was. We made small talk with Koberger about sports for some time. Koberger stated he didn't follow WSU football much, but was a baseball fan. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger if he had only been at WSU for one semester. Koberger confirmed this and said he came to WSU with his father on July 1st. Koberger then went on to say he was a first-year PhD student in criminal justice and criminology. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger what the process was to apply for a PhD. Koberger stated he applied to two places, UC Irvine and WSU. Koberger said he was going to graduate with his master's in criminal justice from DeSales and was inspired. Koberger then asked if it was okay to engage in small talk like we were, to which we replied it was. After briefly mentioning he was strengthened by the fact his mother and father were okay, Koberger said he applied to the two aforementioned schools because they did not require the GRE exam. Koberger then spoke about the GRE for a brief time and then said he was accepted by WSU.
So I've heard that before, that his sister called the feds on him. I did look it up, but the only thing I found about his sister, it says Brian Koberger's sisters fired for connection to alleged killer. And it says here Brian Koberger's two sisters, Amanda and Melissa, were fired from their jobs thanks to their ties with their alleged killer brother. That was March 28th of 2023. Can I just say that that's awful? Like, what, why would you do that? Why would you fire somebody just because they have a sibling that has done something horrible? I mean, that seems like it's a violation of some kind of right or something. And here though, I did find this from Distractify. It says Brian Koberger's sister was one of the first people to suspect he was a unaliver. Quote, they have failed us. According, let's see. Koberger's family has said little apart from a few shocking revelations, including one from his own sister. What does she reveal? Here's what we know. Dateline wasted no time cranking out an episode about the University of Idaho homicides, which aired in May of 2020, called The Killings on King Road. Obviously, no one from Koberger's family could talk, but Dateline had access to sources who happily provided more information. The unnamed source told Dateline's Keith Morrison that one of his sisters grew suspicious of their sibling when he was home at Christmas. When the holidays arrived, it had only been a little over a month since the homicides. Koberger's sister noticed that he was constantly wearing latex gloves. She also pointed out that her brother lived a few miles away from the crimes and drove the same make, model, and color vehicle police were searching for. The sister said it was odd. When she shared her suspicions with the rest of the family, her father was the first to say that it was impossible. Despite that, other family members searched his car when the opportunity arose. They found nothing because by then police had already spotted Koberger cleaning his car with bleach. On December 27th, FBI agents went through the family's trash and sent what they could to a DNA testing lab. That was the beginning of the end. So it sounds like her sister did say something. Interesting. I didn't know that. All right, let's go back to the video.
Detective Gilbertson then asked Koberger what led him down the road of becoming a professor. Koberger stated it was because he loved being in college and stated knowledge was far more important to him than money. Koberger added WSU had a good program to study under, and then said, "You guys know all about this more than likely." Before going on and reading more court docs, I want to pause here and note, it was Koberger himself who brought up the University of Idaho. Koberger then asked questions about University of Idaho and other Idaho universities before stating he didn't know much about Idaho or Washington and had not left the tri-state area much.
Yes, the Turpin children were rescued, but some of them were unfortunately abused in their new homes. Another case I had heard of was, and it's graphic, kind of along the lines of what we talked about earlier, but was like a 2 and a 3-year-old or a 3 and a 5-year-old. I think it was like a 2 and a 3-year-old were taken by CPS and placed in foster care, and their foster father, basically did what those people were doing. I don't know how to say it, and they died from it. Could you imagine, like, CPS coming in and taking your children? I don't know, because I mean, let's take it, you're doing substances and you have no business having a child in that environment, right? But then the child's placed in foster care and they're RAPED and die from it. Like, Jesus. Sometimes that's why I say sometimes they save the children and sometimes they don't. And I'll always feel like that. Thank God they got involved with the case out of Alabama. But my heart goes out to the family of those 2 children. You do. You have to weigh the environments. I agree, Miss Scorpio. Back to Brian.
Koberger then returned to speaking about his focus on learning and how he thought he could obtain a doctorate degree. So from here, the conversation switches back to Koberger's education in Pennsylvania. He studied at both DeSales University and Northampton Community College before he ever moved out west. So investigators asked about all of that and Koberger's fascination with crime. Detective Gilbertson then asked Koberger about his time at DeSales University. Koberger spoke for some time about his time at Northampton Community College and DeSales. Koberger then spoke about how he became interested in criminal justice and stated he thought about being a police officer, but did not want to make that commitment unless he was absolutely sure. Koberger then continued to speak about his education and universities. Koberger also spoke more about the process to get into a PhD program and how competitive it can be. And then the topic switched to Koberger's study at Washington State University. Detective Gilbertson then asked Koberger about his move to Washington. Koberger said he drove across country and wanted the challenge of driving across country and experiencing it with his father. Koberger then said he took a different route back home with his father for Christmas break to avoid snow. Koberger spoke about his travels and the risks of such travels in winter. Koberger then began to speak about the beauty of the environment and its relationship to God and a higher power. We spoke about this for some time, and Koberger said he was raised Christian, but was always a skeptic, except when confronted with the beauty of the natural world. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger if he had ever been to the Pacific Northwest prior to coming to WSU, and Koberger said he had not.
He really planned that out. Oh, I just wanted the experience of driving across country during the winter where there's snow and it's hard to travel in certain areas. He wanted to do that with his father, like things that seemed like they would make sense. He was very calculated, and in my opinion, definitely thought about this for a long time. Our troopers pull over dopers all day long, going by plate readers, knowing they're hauling tons of drugs. Yeah, I agree. I would really love to see his main attorney show some sort of dismay and sorrow on her face that she did not have it right. I do. I wish I could too. They sat there and smiled the whole time, right? Vera, he was stargazing, evidently. They like to work the room and control a lot of weird social dynamics. Yep. Right. Nobody wants to drive through the mountains of Colorado in December that I know of. Yep, Lorianne, they sure do.
Koberger told investigators he worked as a TA at school and was also involved in the Pullman Police Department back in Washington. But after this, the small talk stopped. Koberger made a demand. Koberger then stated he understood why we were engaging in small talk, but would appreciate it if we explained to him what we were doing there. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger why he thought we were there. He said he wanted Detective Gilbertson to tell him. Detective Gilbertson said we were there because of what occurred in Moscow, but did not provide any further detail. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger if he watched the news. Koberger said, "I watched the news." Detective Gilbertson then asked Koberger why he thought I looked familiar. Koberger said he wasn't sure and stated I had a familiar face and looked like someone he used to know. Detective Gilbertson then said we were there because of what happened in November, just off the University of Idaho campus. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger if he knew what that was, to which Koberger replied, "Of course." When prompted to elaborate, Koberger said it was the incident we had been investigating for how long has it been? Koberger said there were probably several incidents and then said he was aware of a homicide because of a WSU alert he received. Detective Gilbertson asked when Koberger received the alert. Koberger said he wasn't sure, but thought it was sometime the previous month. And it was around this point that Koberger actually asked for an attorney. Detective Gilbertson confirmed that was why we were there and asked if Koberger wanted to talk about that. Koberger replied, "Well, I think I would need a lawyer." Koberger then asked if we would explain to him what we were there for specifically and added he was tired. Detective Gilbertson again stated we were investigating the homicides of the 4 students and that we had questions and things we hoped Koberger would help us understand. Koberger sat back and said he had the utmost respect for law enforcement, but stated it was a constitutional right to speak to an attorney. Detective Gilbertson affirmed this. So Koberger wants an attorney and the questioning stops, right? Well, not so fast. Koberger then re-engaged and said the only thing he heard from Moscow was an alert that came to his phone. Koberger then said he wanted to talk to an attorney. Detective Gilbertson said we would stop now because Koberger wanted to speak to an attorney. Koberger then asked where his parents were and where his dog was. Koberger re-engaged again and asked what questions we would have for him. Detective Gilbertson then asked Koberger again if he understood his rights and asked specifically what Koberger wished. Koberger asked what specifically we wanted to talk to him about and the reason. I told Koberger he invoked his Fifth Amendment rights and we were not going to ask him any further questions. Koberger asked again for the reason he was there, but added he would like to talk to an attorney. At this point, we concluded our interview with Koberger and left the room. So we broke down all the court documents, but now I will read in between the lines and get some more information. So for that, we're going to turn to today's expert guest, retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith. Tom, I want to start kind of at the...
That's interesting. So he invoked pretty much right out the gate. Yeah, the stargazing thing killed me, especially when I heard per the victim impact statement that it was snowing that night. Like there's no way you could have seen the stars because the snow would have been very visually impairing as far as the aspect of, looking at the snow. Lori, and that teacher that teaches criminal justice or something to that effect, psychology, criminal psychology, I believe, who interviewed BTK. I'm going to look for her interview after this and see what we can find on it and maybe try to locate the documents this evening and see what we can pull from that. That would be good to talk about tomorrow. I forget her name. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I think it was snowing that night, but I could be misunderstanding.
End of the interview, because this is what's most intriguing to me. Brian Koberger basically says, I have my constitutional right to have a lawyer. I want to lawyer up. But then he kind of backtracks and is like, wait, what do you want to know? What do you want to talk about? What's going on? So he says he wants a lawyer, but then he wants info too. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, that's actually classic. It's called leaking, which
I hate the term leaking. I much prefer the term Freudian slip. Ryan Hawkins said she talked about his visual snow. Okay, thank you. And yes, it's Dr. Ramslin. Abraham said, did he think his respect for law enforcement was going to get him out of this? I don't think that he thought very much at all, honestly. I mean, hell, he got away with it for 6 weeks. She's already planning on collaborating on a book with Brian. I would say that, understanding the criminal mind and why they do things is going to help us be able to identify other people, and maybe try to stop a homicide before it happens. But, I don't know. That's something that you could get from Stephen Stearns. I think Brian, I don't want to make him special in any way, shape, or form, but I think Brian Kohberger is like an enigma. I think it's relatively easy to tell there's just something off. I don't think you're going to get any more information from that than what you get by just being able to visually tell that there's something off. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody that's awkward in social situations is, a killer, but I don't know. The professor did not say that. Okay, so I don't know. An innocent person would be like, and what the heck could I possibly know about that? Yep. I'm going to try to pull the interview if Ramsland has spoken since everything happened, and we'll try to go over it tomorrow.
When you have the inability to keep something inside you, and when you are dealing with people like this, school shooters, mass murderers, whatever it might be, they have an inability to just keep it all inside them. So they have to let little pieces out as sort of a relief. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's actually propping himself up to that serial killer kind of mentality of, if they don't know who I am, I'm not famous.
Right.
Sort of like, and that's the way he's going, and that's the road he's going down of, yeah, I need to be quiet, but what do you know about this?
So look at his mugshot here. Now I'm assuming, I'm allegedly speculating that this mugshot was taken after that interview that she just read from the court documents. Look at him smiling. Like he's ready for it almost. I think he was deliberately playing a chess game or a cheese game, toying with the interviewers as a form of showing his intellectual superiority. I think so. I don't chess game. Okay. I don't see it as out of the realm of possibility when we're talking about Brian Kohberger. Abraham said, I don't think leaking was a proper term. It's more like fishing for info. I agree. There's goofy and then there's off. I'm goofy too, Dolly. Really. Papa Rogers, I think his name of Papa Rogers was from that. All I'm saying is, if we can't search the net anymore for fears of viruses and docs tracking, not to mention the myriad of predators from all sides of the cultural spectrum, we have a narrow path. His eyes are dead. I couldn't either, Parabola. It's scary. Hey, Becky. I'm from Alabama, about an hour north of Birmingham. This is hitting so close to home. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Becky, about that case, it's scary. It really is. I'm going to try to get more information on it, Becky, and follow it. In my opinion, he did this crime in hopes of his professor, someone he idolized, would make him famous by writing a book about his case, or infamous. Maybe, Miss Honeybee, that's a good theory. There's Goofy and there's Goofin. Stearns, I agree. Me too, Becky. I'll type it in chat because you might be behind. I'm from Alabama too. I'm from Birmingham. Parabola, that case I did in the beginning is sick, and it's from Alabama. I'm real concerned about the victims.
And what do you want to ask me? He can't help himself because that's what they are and that's how they're built. And that was a classic, just leaking, part of bad guys.
Do you think it's more that he wanted to know what police knew in terms of the investigation so he could kind of be one step ahead? Or do you think it's because he's proud of what he's done?
A little of both. Absolutely a little of both. And that's exactly the way I read it also, just as you stated it. What do they have? What do I have to come up with? What's the next line I need to say?
Yep.
But it's so hard, and I gave the detectives so much credit for sticking to, nope, we're done. You're finished. You invoked your amendment rights. That's fine. And
Yeah, they wanted to make sure that they had a very solid case so we didn't have an issue like we had with Stephen Stearns and the cell phone evidence. And I appreciate them for that. Southern Cat said, "Wonder who broke his nose." And you know how you can look at someone's nose and tell that it's been broken before. I don't know who broke his nose, but I'm sure glad they did. I'm just stationed in Oklahoma with my hubby right now. I've seen that case in the news. I was going to do a bit more looking into it. It's a fucking sad and horrible case. It's a bit crooked. It is. Heard that he boxed at some point. Can't confirm that. Interesting, considering that one of their faces was beaten in. And I think that's where we get the possibility of a second weapon. He thought he would get away with this and live the rest of his life knowing he did it and no one else. Wrong. Wrong.
He kept coming after you. You need a lot of discipline to continue to walk away from it and not throw something at him. So I gave the detectives in that interview a ton of respect and admiration for doing that, because that is very hard to do, especially if you're pretty convinced you got your guy.
Oh, absolutely. Because they did the Miranda rights, they were following protocol, but then all of a sudden he says he wants his attorney. Maybe he's going to give us something more. I mean, I would struggle not asking more questions and getting more answers, but they're thinking 10 steps ahead when and if this goes to trial. We don't want this thrown out.
Exactly.
So you're right. Great work to the detectives on their part. And actually, I kind of want to go back now and talk about them because this happened literally all over the country. So the murder is obviously in Idaho. He's arrested in Pennsylvania. So we have multiple jurisdictions there. Plus the FBI is involved in all of this. So how does that work when we have these jurisdictions from, again, all over the country working together to come and get Kohberger and interview him? How does that work?
So, yeah, Dainty Dane said, yes, one officer said that Maddie's face was so disfigured and covered in blood that it was hard for him to comprehend what he was looking at. And that makes me think about them saying Kaylee would have kicked your ass. I mean, he did. I mean, well, it's not allegedly anymore because he admitted he did the crime. He snuck in their house just like a pedophile in the middle of the night. He really did. He really did. And I feel like if they had been awake, he wouldn't have never gotten away with it. But, I mean, you're sleeping peacefully and you're not going to wake up. I mean, by the time you wake up, he's already got the upper hand. I think it was the other side of the K-bar because that's what it's for after all. I thought about that too, but they said a second weapon. The family did, but I thought about maybe it was the other side of the K-bar knife. I don't know. There's always one law being passed, voted, or expunged from the books. And when law is legal but not lawful, we have been robbed of any support of reciprocated integrity. I agree. You're owning it today, Simone. Like a fucking coward. SS stupid 1, BK stupid 2. Thing 1 and thing 2.
Just a lot of communication and a lot of planning and strategizing. I've had to do it. And it takes, that's all it is just getting everyone on the same page and open communication of what's going on. So no one's overstepping, no one's stepping on each other. Everyone has their role in what they're doing. And it worked out well. It started, on one coast and went through the surveillance of him traveling around the country and then ended up in Pennsylvania. And that's all it is. It's just coordination and making sure no one's going to be the hero. No one's going to overstep what they're doing. Just stick to the game plan and get the end result is what we all want. And you were exactly right in what you said before. The planning of the trial starts in the very beginning of this case. And you never want to do something wrong to jeopardize that. As much as you want an answer or as much as you want to find a piece of evidence, you have to do it all the right way because all of that leads up to the prosecution. You don't want anything going wrong in a trial.
All of these detectives are playing the long game, right? Because
I mean, I again reference Stern's case with the cell phone evidence. I mean, we saw the judge take over a month to decide on that. So it was very possible that it could have gotten thrown out. That's why you have to be really, really careful when it comes to things like this. And I'm super glad, I'm like ecstatic that police officer did what he did. Oh, Dolly, you know there's going to be people who will pen pal Brian Koberger because he's got fans out there and he's got people who believe he's innocent. He's probably already got pen pals. Cheer up a little. Oh my God. Abellis, good God Almighty. My Lord in the morning. Thank you for gifting 50 memberships. Lord have mercy. Wow. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. I hope those went to some of the people in our chat. Wow, Abellis. I don't even I'm astonished and almost speechless, and I run my damn mouth a lot. So that's not very common that I'm speechless. I've always got something to say. Thank you, Abellis. Thank you so very much. Hey, who knows? Abellis, both Brent and Limestone are in AI. Maybe a couple of hours. Okay. Yeah, Abellis, my goodness. Thank you, Abellis. I'm going to play both clips. I will start with the Polar Express to pick up our first 25. Thank you so much, Abellis. Thank you, Abellis, and I'll grab the crazy train for the other 25. Thank you so much, Abellis. That was so very sweet of you. Oh, Connie, thank you for saying thank you. Thank you for saying congratulations. Eek hasn't been here in a while. She's had some things going on. Hector, um, I haven't talked to her in quite a while. I hope she's okay. I know she had personal things going on just like Bad Girl did. If I do talk to them, and I know Bad Girl's in and out of Discord, but if I do talk to them, and I will let them know that y'all are thinking about them. Okay, yeah, there you go. Vero. Becky said, I have a 3-year-old grandson. I know this case isn't social media related, but people need to keep their kids off the internet. I agree. Thank you again, Abellis. Thank you so very much.
This happened in December of 2022. We're now in July 2025, and now we finally have a conviction. It's been years in all of this. So you're right. They really have to be thinking ahead. And that kind of leads into my next question. When they're going to prepare for this interview, how do they do that? It could go multiple ways. He could say, yes, I want an attorney, which is eventually what happened. We did get some details, but he eventually says, I want an attorney. Or he could be an open book and say, here's what happened. Or he could be hard to break. How do you prep for an interview where you don't know what's going to happen?
Yep. You know what? That's the relationship between partners. And I'm sure they have done it numerous times. And that's what you just strategize. Who's going to take what role? Who's going to be kind of the lead question, detective in this? Who's going to take the lead on this? That's all coordination and relationship and personalities you have with your partner. There may be, and this happens quite often, you have a suspect in a room that gravitates towards one of the detectives. That happens often. So you need to just think real quick. And if you have to switch roles right away, that's part of it. And I'm sure they were prepared for every scenario because you game planned it. And exactly what you said, Sierra. What if he says this? What if we go down this road? What are we going to do? And I'm sure even in the beginning, they were a little surprised of how much he was talking, and not just as soon as you walk in the room, I want a lawyer. So again, it's relationships, it's experience when you're questioning suspects like this and how the interview goes.
Talking to your point about gravitating toward one of the detectives, I feel like we might have seen this a bit here. Right when they opened it up, came into the interview room, one of the detectives who this document was written from his perspective.
Basil is sending you hugs, sweetheart. Lori Ann said, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Yes, please hit the thumbs up.
Detective Payne. Koberger says he looks familiar. And later on, we find out Koberger watches the news. Now, Payne is obviously involved in this investigation. He's, some would say, a face of it. He's at least one of the faces of it.
Okay, love.
So we've got twofold here. The fact that he recognizes this detective who's obviously involved in a major murder investigation, number one. Number two, he's watching this news coverage. I mean, not only is it local in Idaho, it's across the country. It's in Pennsylvania. We're covering it here on Law and Crime. I'm in Pennsylvania when all of this happens. I mean, everyone's all over the place following this. So what does that say about Koberger that he's been following the news of this case?
Paying attention to detail and wanting, the details of what's being said out there. The news is a great resource, if you're a bad guy, because, sometimes they overstep what they should be saying and where the investigation's at. And that goes with sources and all that stuff. But that is research. That's what it is. And, it brought me back to a very well-known case, the Night Stalker. Richard Ramirez knew who the detectives were who were looking for him. And as soon as they caught him, that was the very first thing Richard Ramirez said to Gil Carrero. Oh, I know you. Same exact thing. So that's why when he said that, it brought me back to that case of how that thought process works.
So this guy's been following the news coverage of it, obviously. And another major point of contention in this case is that Brian Koberger he went to multiple different universities. Eventually he was studying his PhD in criminology, which he talked about being a police officer. Even in this very interview, he said, yeah, I considered it. He's going through and studying, what makes a person commit a crime, what happens in the investigation. This is very interesting. And I think something a lot of people point to in this specific case is it that Brian Koberger wanted to carry out the perfect crime and see he could get away with it. I mean,
that's my thought process on it. I think he wanted to commit the perfect crime. I've related this case several times to the movie Murder by Numbers. If you guys haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's probably free on one of the platforms that most of us are subscribed to. That movie Murder by Numbers, it'll remind you of Brian Koberger. I'm telling you, I love that movie. It's a really good movie, but it reminds me of Brian Koberger, except there was two of them. And that ended up being the problem in the movie, that there was two of them that did it together. So it's like he watched that movie and learned from it, not to have somebody do it with him. Abraham said, oh my God, imagine waking up to those Brian Koberger eyes. That would scare the living lights out of me. Right. Waking up out of a dead sleep because you're being stabbed or whatever else happened, beat. My heart just goes out to the victims and their families. Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee. Miss Scorpio said, oh my God, Richard Ramirez, my friend helped catch him and he hit right behind my house. The Night Stalker. Oh my God, I'm not getting in the bathtub yet. Okay. That's crazy. Richard Ramirez, that's another, that one was before my time, but I do know about him. And that was during the Satanic Panic, and he played right on into that. You're like wide awake.
His interest in the criminology really does stand out to me. What do you make of it that he's talking about it in this interview?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is, hey, I'm like you. I'm just like you guys. We just want to, do the right thing and be a cop and go after bad guys. So we're all the same. And the other thing is, like you said, what goes into it? How is evidence collected? How are interviews conducted? How are investigations conducted? To set yourself up as a point of resource in a future act. So I think both of those things were going on at the same time. And the other thing I think that was going on was him just bragging about his education of, look, I'm no dummy. I'm really smart. I know what I'm doing. You're not going to, outthink me. I'm going for my PhD. So I think a lot of that resonated as far as I was concerned reading that of you're not smarter than me.
It's interesting, based on Brian Koberger, what I've researched about him in the years since this happened. What you're saying checks out to me, that he was very confident in his smarts, that he's going, to get his PhD and all of that. You're not smarter than me. That makes sense to me now, but it's also interesting that now we have a person who's been convicted of 4 murders. So how smart was he and all of that? Anyway, that's a completely side note. One of the The other questions I had about all of this is kind of speaking of study, he mentioned he went to WSU. There was some talk about that. But then Brian Koberger himself, also brought up the University of Idaho, which of course we know these 4 victims were students there. So
real quick, Tom said, I don't believe he's ever going to say why he did it. By not telling the reason, he's exerting the only control he has left. And I agree. I don't think that he will ever tell why he did it either, because again, that's his control that he has over it. I think he's going to be just like his hero, Ted Bundy. Abraham said, how did that turn out, BK? Too many images in my head. Oh, Vero, if you're having too many images, take a break, sweetheart. That's a good movie. I want to watch that. I do want to watch that. Sometimes we're able to watch movies in Discord. And I'll probably try to do, there's 2 movies I want to watch with y'all. I want to watch Frankie and Alice about dissociative identity disorder. And I want to watch Murder by Numbers about Brian Koberger. Right now with the gardens and everything, I haven't had time, but in the fall or winter, we'll probably start watching movies like that again in Discord. That would be cool. I've just been so busy. Yep, that's what I was just talking about. I've just been so busy. I haven't been able to do it. Hio knows how to do it. And so probably, like I said, in the fall, after I get done with the gardens, and in the winter, we'll probably watch them together, because I really do want to watch those with y'all. So I'll drop the Discord link again. Make sure y'all are subscribed so that when I have the time to do that, y'all can come hang out.
it's interesting and a bit telling to me that he would bring up the specific university. What did you think about that?
That's the leaking part again. That's just an inability to stay quiet about something that he knows is important to him. And that was classic. It's just little pieces that they put out there that skilled and experienced detectives will jump on. You know, the bad guy may think nothing of it, you know, just because it's a conversation, something that's on their mind. But to someone with experience and a detective like that, that is a absolute red flag that jumps up when bad guys voluntarily give information about a crime that maybe no one knows about, or it's not really relevant in the interview that's taking place right now. Those are all red flags, and hats off to the detectives for making a note of it and understanding what he was talking about.
This reminds me of in many cases where we see they're looking for someone's missing, they're looking for a suspect, and investigators go out there and say, any information could help us. You may think it's irrelevant, but please come forward with it. And I think that could be something here too, because they do a bit of small talk for a while too. They talk about the weather, they talk about the road trip all the way from Washington State over to Pennsylvania.
I mean, small talk, which is what he's going to do. SD said you should watch the movie The Cell. It explores what a psychopath experiences in their head. It stars J-Lo, but it's still a good movie. I bet that would be good. I've never heard of it. I'll definitely have to check it out. She did good in Enough. I really like that movie. There's another movie, Gothica, which I know that because Limp Bizkit made a song for it, redid Behind Blue Eyes from The Doors for that movie, and so I watched the movie. That one's pretty good too.
Talking about things that you and I would talk about at coffee, but I mean, there could be some things in there. I guess that leads into my question. Why would they be starting with all of this small talk? They're not, slamming the papers on the table and saying, we know you did it. They're saying, oh, it was just Christmas break. It's about to be New Year's. What's going on with you and your family? I mean, tell me about the small talk part.
Yeah, that's a strategy. And I used it every interview I did. I started off interviews talking about the New York Yankees or the Knicks or the Rangers or whatever the sports were going on in New York at the time. That was my thing. And my partner knew it. I would start off 15 minutes talking about sports, because what does it do? It just brings the person down into just a normal sense of a conversation. Then you start with the little bit of what the interview is actually about.
Right. You start by making them feel like you're their friend and you're there to help them and all this, that, and the third, and then you get them to admit.
Did that all the time. And most of the time, 90+% of the time, it worked, because you need to get someone calmed down. You don't know their state of mind. You don't want to walk in there to a circus.
Um, Billy girly girl, I'm so very sorry that that happened to you, and I don't know what to say about that. I'm so sorry, and I'm glad that you're still here with us. If this triggers you, please feel free to come back another time. I don't want to trigger you, and I'm so sorry. I hate that we have to go through things like this. I feel like only bad people should go through bad things. I wish that God would make it to where the people who do good things, and maybe sin once, like let's say we got somebody that's a good person but uses substances, okay? Well, maybe, have a karma or a thing happen and then substance related, right? But you'll have innocent children that are being assaulted and things like that happening to innocent people, and it's like, why? Like, I wish somebody would hurt Stephen Stearns like he hurt Maddie instead of it being Maddie. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense. BK doesn't look like the kind of guy that gets a rass ass about sports. No doubt. Probably not.
And a just emotional mess. You don't want to do that because you
Yeah.
need to get information. Remember, the point of the interview is to get as much information as possible. So if you walk in just breathing fire and all over the place, they're going to shut down. It's not going to work. So it's a finessing thing that takes place in order to get what you're looking for. And I think they did a great job at that. And if you read the rest of it worked because he did open up about the traveling and where they went and how he was acting and all that. So that strategy worked very, very well.
I think you're right. He did open up. Maybe if it seems like, oh, we just were going on a drive, our trip, it was winter break, whatever. But of course, investigators are following along on that. And if and when it comes to trial, we're going to need to track exactly where he went from Washington, the drive over to Pennsylvania. It's so incredible for me to see because on its face, it does look like small talk. But the way that you're pointing it out and the way that it was described in the court documents,
Yep.
it really shows that these investigators were ahead of the game, that they
Yep.
really had planned everything out. What do you think is the most important thing to take from this interview?
I think a lot of it, you can't write down on paper. Me as an investigator sitting in that room is how is he acting? What emotions are coming out of him? What question did he kind of jump back on or flick his eyes more or move around in his chair more? So that's hard to explain on, a document. But that's one of the things I would like to see with that interview of just his actions, because that speaks volumes into what they're thinking or the reactions that they're getting from certain questions. But I think overall, with an initial interview of someone that's sitting in front of you that is suspected of killing 4 kids, they did a masterful job with doing what they had to do at that point.
I agree. I mean, again, like I've said, I'm really glad they handled it the way they did, and we didn't have another suppression of the evidence issue like we had with Stearns. Abraham said, sometimes I tell myself when a tragedy happens, maybe everyone in it was a horrible person and we just didn't know it. That brings me thoughts on one of the questions that a lot of people ask, especially with criminal psychology. If you could go back to 1930 and you saw that man from Germany that started all of the things in World War II, but he was a baby, would you end his life? Like, I don't know. If I knew what he was going to do, maybe. But I mean, then you're committing homicide on a baby, It's a hard question.
You're right. From this, we can't really tell. Was he kind of quiet and reserved? Was he loud? And, yes, I traveled from Washington. Say, what was his personality like in all of this? It's basically just the facts as they're laying them out. And I guess one thing I could tell from all of this about Bryan Kohberger's personality and kind of what he was exuding in all of this is 2 things. He said that he was wondering about his parents. There was a SWAT situation at his home when he was arrested. How are my parents? Asking about them, asking about his dog. So he mentioned all of that kind of selfishly thinking about those things. And then additionally, he basically demanded, okay, enough is enough. We've done the small talk. What do you want me here for? So to me, it seems kind of self-serving in a way. Did that stand out to you?
Oh yeah, that goes to the narcissistic, hey, I'm the superstar now, I'm the celebrity.
Yep.
You know, hey, what do you want from me? I'm the center of attention right now. And that
He ate it up.
that statement, that question him would absolutely light me up as an investigator. Because, you know, like I said, they're extracting information from you. What do you need from me? What do you need? Yeah, I don't need you. You need me. And
Right.
that's his attitude with this interview, especially that question. That's a great point, Sierra.
Now, something else in all of this is we have the court document to go through and read. However, at the top, it does state multiple recordings were taken of this, which I assume if it did go to trial, I'm sure we would hear excerpts from it. But now me, Sierra Gillespie, the reporter, is wondering, when am I going to get to see these? If they're audio, when am I going to get to hear them? So do
Right.
you think they will one day be released now that we have a conviction, there's been a sentencing, the case is essentially over?
Yeah, I think they will, because it doesn't serve any purpose at this point if he's away to not release them. You know, you don't want to make him more of a celebrity than he already is. I get that point.
I've never thought about that, Simone. Simone said the autistic person he is, we may not fully comprehend. He has his internal battles. What he will be is closely monitored. I could see BK as another Michael Myers. That's interesting. I've never compared or thought to compare Brian Koberger to Michael Myers. I mean, yeah, if you're going to talk about, like, you know, mythical, that or even Scarface, not Scarface, Leatherface. Like I don't know, Leatherface was not intelligent. Brian is. That's a good point. Billy Girly Girl said, "You never recover without years of therapy. God is not to blame. Evil has taken over this world." Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry for you and your daughter. That's horrible. And I don't know. It's hard, man. It's real hard. I'm sorry. If y'all need to email me, please feel free to do so. I'm so sorry. Another pathetic loser rejected by girls in society, thinking they deserved all and needed unaliving so many people. If something in this guy's life before changed, he may not have done those things. Are you talking about the World War II scenario? Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to children, I tend to pause. Why allow that to happen? Yeah.
Don't know if they would have to inquire or ask the victims' families if they would be okay with releasing it. I don't know the procedures of that court of what they, or the police department, what they would have to do to release those. But I think at some point they're going to come out. I also think at some point he's going to give an interview. At some point to somebody, he's going to understand who he is, what this was all about, and that celebrityism that he's craving is going to come out at some point.
Yep.
It's so sad that we have such media attention around Brian Koberger. And you're right. I do think he loves it. He seems to love the celebrity and maybe one day would do that interview. But I think we have to remember the victims in all of this, their families, what they had to go through and endure every single day since then. It's just such a tragic case to have to go through. Tom Smith, thank you for coming on, though, and walking us through the first interview Brian Koberger had with police.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure, Sierra. Thank you.
After his police interview, Brian Koberger was extradited to Idaho. At first, a judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf, and we expected his trial to begin next month. But in the final hour, Koberger changed his plea to guilty. Just this week, he was sentenced to 4 life sentences in the murders of Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. This is overall a devastating case. Honestly, one of the more heartbreaking ones we've had to cover here on Law and Crime. So while it's our duty to bring you the facts of this case, our hearts still go out to the families and friends of the victims. For all the latest updates in this case and all others, make sure to follow our channel. It's Scandalous News, and you can send any tips our way to at scandal@lawandcrime.com. Thanks for watching today's episode of Scandal. I'm your host, Sierra Gillespie, and I'll see you next time.
So that was
CBS 42 News at 10 start
that episode. I think the rest of it was about what we talked about this morning and something I had a question about. Let's see. I wanted to see what we have as far as the documents. We got another 41-minute video. This one, we can watch this one real quick from Law and Crime from a day ago. And it's going to talk about her face. I see her face was completely disfigured and stabbed several times. So it's going to go through another aspect of some of the documents. So we can watch this real quick before we go for the day.
We're learning shocking new details in the murders of the Idaho Four. Answers to the longtime mystery surrounding the 911 call.
I don't think so.
How the faces of the victims were unrecognizable. And what quadruple killer Brian Kohberger told officers after his arrest. We're taking a look at the 15 most shocking bombshells just revealed in the Brian Kohberger case.
So yeah, this is kind of more of like what I want to hear, or what I'm going to be watching with or without you guys, and I'd rather watch it with y'all because I love our speculating family. Who knows said the headline reads 2 additional arrests. That's why I'm connecting them to the Brent case. Seems like 2 more moms. Maybe it will be clearer soon. Are you talking about for the Bibb County 7? Oh, really? Okay, I will, Vero. I need to do another video of the garden for our new members. I just haven't had time. It says 7 now arrested is what I'm seeing. I'll show you. The most recent is from 22 hours ago, 19 hours ago, 7, and 2 of them were mothers. If that's what you were referencing. All right, I'm going to go back to Brian real quick.
This is Scandal, presented by Law and Crime. I'm
going to mute during the little song thing.
Before we get into those breaking details, I have to bring you a Law and Crime legal documents have been released in the case of now convicted murderer Brian Kohberger, who was sentenced in the quadruple killings that shocked the nation. We spent literal years asking questions that seem to never have answers. What exactly happened in the deaths of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves?
Look at them. They were so freaking beautiful. I mean, my God, they were gorgeous for their lives to be cut so short. Doing everything you hope that your child does. Goes to college and makes, does great things. And it's horrible. Tom said he wanted to destroy their beauty by doing that. I think so. I really do. I really do. Split. If they fight back, why not take DNA evidence? Maybe. Yeah.
Zana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin. What was Kohberger's motive? Why did he wait so long to take a plea deal just weeks before he was set to go to trial? With the gag order lifted, emotional victim impact statements read, and 4 consecutive life sentences handed down to Kohberger himself, we finally have some answers. Our Law and Crime team combed through every page of the court documents to bring you the latest and most shocking details. So let's start at the beginning. It was November 13th, 2022, when officers were called to 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, not far from the University of Idaho campus. Inside the home, first responders found a gruesome scene that we're now hearing about firsthand from one of the officials first on the scene, Moscow police officer Corbin Smith. This is straight from Smith's report, and we'll warn you, the notes about the crime scene are gruesome and disturbing. The officer said he found Zana and Ethan first, writing, quote, "When I arrived, I entered the residence and went to the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom, floor covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations, indicative of defensive wounds on the female's hands. The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. I observed a male lying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood, and the bedding around him was soaked in blood. After this, Smith says he found Madison and Kaylee, quote, "In a third-floor bedroom, I observed two females laying in bed, which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female laying on the left half of the bed. As I looked..."
Okay, I was trying to submit a FOIA request before 5 o'clock. I'm going to back that up real quick because I was sidetracked. I'm going to back it up just a little bit because I wanted to hear the details of what happened. There they are right before everything happened. Just getting some food and enjoying the night. It's so sad.
Warn you, the notes about the crime scene are gruesome and disturbing. The officer said he found Xana and Ethan first, writing, quote, "When I arrived, I entered the residence and went to the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom, floor covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations, indicative of defensive wounds on the female's hands."
So Xana fought back. Xana fought back. And we know Xana was awake, right? I think Xana was the one that was awake. Again, I apologize. I've told y'all I haven't followed this case very closely, but I do remember hearing that Xana was actually awake. Dandy said it's shocking to hear the details of what he did to them. Seems like it was rage-filled, in my opinion. I think so. Somebody said there was a sexual aspect to it, but I don't know. We'll have to see what they say. I get responses from emails and paid for transcripts from dates, and a lot of them, most of them, actually, in the one case said that they weren't available anymore. Oh, goodness. How do I get it from California, my friend's case? Oh, you would submit a FOIA request, but I don't know. Some states, like, you can't do it unless you're a resident there. Like Tennessee, Arkansas, I can't get information from there. I might be able to get stuff from Arkansas because I talked to Mr. Speculating's older son about it, and he told me if I gave him the information, he would submit the request. But like those, you have to live in the state. Let me see if California is like that. Can CAL It says, yes, you can submit a FOIA request in California, even if you're not a resident of that state. The California Public Records Act, or CPRA, allows a person to request access to public records regardless of residency status. This means that as long as you meet the criteria for requesting public records under CPRA, you are eligible to submit a FOIA request in California. So, many records are already available online. So there you go. You could go through the California Secretary of State, but I find it's best to go directly to the county. Like, let's do Osceola. I'll show you. Osceola is easy. OSECOLA. Osceola County FOIA request, right? And then right here, it says Osceola County, make a public records request, Osceola County. And you click that. And then you click what you want. I did City of Kissimmee records. And then police records, you just click it. And then request a record. And then here, like, you read it, and you have to put your email, your phone number, your address, information on the report. Tell them what you're requesting. And I request only to review and respect. If you're looking for body cam, click yes. You have to, basically, you give them information about what you're trying to request, and you have to include your name, your address, your phone number. And I think that's it. So it would be like, my name is Miss Scorpio Rising, and I live at 123 Main Street in Scottsdale, Arizona. Put the zip code. My phone number is 959-432-7093 or something. And I always say I'm respectfully requesting everything that you are able to give me on the case of, and then you put the information in. I want and have a lot of paperwork. So you would go to Monterey County, California. Oh, it sometimes they get rid of records after a while. Like Stephen Stern's TBI records were destroyed, and the only thing we had on that was the court proceedings. So sometimes they get rid of them, unfortunately.
The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. I observed a male lying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood, and the bedding around him was soaked in blood.
So it sounds like Ethan didn't get up or wake up because he was on the bed. The bedding around him was soaked in blood, but Xana got up and fought because there was defensive wounds on her hands, but it was a bloody nightmare.
After this, Smith says he found Madison and Kaylee, quote, in a third floor bedroom. I observed two females laying in bed, which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female laying on the left half of the bed, as I looked at it from the doorway, was unrecognizable.
Sorry, in the third floor bedroom, I observed two females lying on the bed, which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female lying on the left hand of the bed, the left half of the bed, as I looked at it from the doorway, was unrecognizable. Oh my God.
Her face was completely disfigured and was stabbed several times.
Who stabbed her in the fucking face?
I was unable to comprehend exactly what I was looking at while trying to discern the nature of the injuries. The second female on the right half of the bed had multiple stab wounds. The comforter was soaked in blood, and a pool of blood was still present.
So much blood that it created a pool of blood that was still sitting there. My God. Through the court documents that have been released, I'm going to FOIA those when we get done today. The picture of the brick wall of the house with the red coming out of it was insane to see. Oh my God. My name is Mood.
Another Moscow officer, Mitch Nunez, describes the same scene. According to the report, Nunez found Xana first. Now, it's written as Kaylee because at the time, Officer Nunez believed it was Kaylee. But when it says Kaylee, he really means Xana. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased.
So they mean Xana. Xana's body, there was dry blood surrounding Xana's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Xana was covered in so much blood, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Xana was apparently deceased, if I understand what she said correctly, and that's so sad.
Here's how he describes Ethan, quote, I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs, surrounding his body into the bed sheets, and drops of blood on the wall near Ethan's head.
Ethan wasn't disfigured in the face, though, so it's definitely got to do with girls and their beauty, if I had to guess. I like Promise too. The house was bleeding. Jesus. Yeah, there was a big document dump. I'm working on getting those documents. Hell, they might already be in my Discord. I don't know.
He describes finding Kaylee and Maddie too, quote, one female showed an apparent traumatic injury to her face due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable.
Her whole facial structure was unrecognizable. Oh my God.
Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased.
So they were pale, but it would have been pale in comparison to the blood. I mean, like when you put, even if you've got a little bit of a tan, when you put that beside a blood, it's going to look very pale. My God. This is hard.
Upon further reflection, officers determined that the wounds on Xana's arms, hands, and face all came from an edged weapon. The nightstand in that room had been moved and was pushed up against the wall at an odd angle. There was blood on it. Ethan was on Xana's bed in that same room, laying on his back. He had a blanket pulled over his midsection, and his feet were hanging off the side of the bed. Upstairs in Kaylee's room, everything was neat, except that the sheets on the bed had been pulled back, almost as if someone was laying in bed and then jumped out.
So one of them might have been awake and jumped up when he came in. And that might be when we hear them talk about, he says, "Shh, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you." Oh my goodness. He was probably obsessed with killing her after all the stalking, probably. With the loss of all that blood, they would have been pale. That's true, Abraham. Thank you for pointing that out. I know it's...
In Madison's room, investigators could see two people on one bed, both on their backs. Both had noticeable stab wounds, and the officers noticed the knife sheath laying on the bed next to Madison's right side. As the early stages of the investigation began, Officer Smith was assigned security of the rear door, and that's when he noticed something in the snow. Quote,
And see, it's hard for me to see like all this snow. I mean, when you think of snow, it's supposed to be, you know, white and pure and beautiful and God washing the earth. I love snow. I think it's absolutely like just so beautiful, the nature, and you can see the footprints of all the little animals that come through. And then you see all this snow and you come upon a horror like this. I mean, it would change my perception of snow forever.
the footsteps went to and from the rear slider door. I observed the trail of footsteps head away from the slider, then turn right around a stump in the backyard and lead toward the front of the house. I observed a set of small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared damaged and was laying on the ground. I located smudged fingerprints on the glass slider door. There was a discarded black backpack in the backyard.
That's definitely information we've never heard before, because I think pure, when I see snow, we always heard that he went in the sliding glass door, but now we're hearing that there was a window. I observed a set of small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared damaged and was laying on the ground. So who took the screen off and went in the window or attempted to go in the window? And then there's fingerprints on the sliding glass door. And whose backpack was in the yard?
Officers on the scene also spoke with surviving roommates, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. Here's what Officer Nunez writes about Dylan. And it is redacted. It says only D, but we can discern that this is Dylan Mortensen. Quote, D told me at approximately 0400 hours, she heard a voice scream and believe it to be Kaylee's. D said she heard Kaylee scream and announced there was somebody inside the residence. D said she could hear Kaylee run from the third floor down the stairs to the second floor in the northwest bedroom. D said she locked herself in her bedroom and continued to hear a commotion. D said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you."
Okay, so this is the first that we're hearing Kaylee got up and did anything. So Kaylee didn't stay in the room. She ran. And that's when, like I said, he said, it wasn't, I'm going to help you. It's, you're going to be fine. I'm going to help you. Oh my God.
D said she did not recognize the male's voice. D said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build with a black ski mask leave the second floor patio area.
And I said during the victim impact statements, this girl was scarred and very upset, but I don't understand how she saw all that and still didn't call the police. It was the other girl. Oh, was it? Okay, so then it was Xana. Was it Xana? Okay, so that would be at 4 o'clock, she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Xana's. She could hear Xana run from the third floor down the stairs to her bedroom to the second floor in the northwest bedroom. She locked herself in her Dylan locked herself in her bedroom and continued to hear the commotion. She said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you." Dylan says she didn't recognize the male voice. Dylan said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom, observed a male described as 6 feet tall, slim build with a black ski mask leave the second floor patio area.
Dee said she did not recognize the male's voice. Dee said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build with a black ski mask leave the second floor patio area. Officer Nunez also spoke with Bethany. She said before all of this happened, she'd been in the living room watching The Vampire Diaries. Madison and Kaylee came home after going out to the corner club and also visiting the Grub Wandering Kitchen. When they got home, B, meaning Bethany, said she and Madison let Madison's dog out, Murphy, sometime between 0200 hours and 0230 hours. B said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. B said she returned inside while Madison was still outside with Murphy. B said she went to bed around 0230 hours. B said Madison came into her bedroom sometime after 0230 hours to ask if she knew where Murphy was. B said she told Madison no, and Madison left. B said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the first floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. B said she initially thought the sound was a prank. Other court documents go more in depth about all of this too. B said when she went to bed, she was using her iPad to watch a TV show off of Hulu. She said she was watching Baby Daddy. B could not remember what episode she was watching or how long she was watching. As she was watching the show, Maddie came downstairs and asked her if she had Murphy with her because she could not find him. B told her no, said her door was locked, and she normally locks her door when she goes to bed. B told me she eventually turned off the show and her iPad and went to sleep. B said she woke up after falling asleep to hearing what she felt was a firecracker go off, and she thought she saw a sparkler going off through the crack under her door. B stated she did not know what happened. Bethany showed officers she called each of the victims between.
So what's the firecracker about? I've never heard that. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have, Miss Scorpio. I've never heard the thing about a firecracker. What is that about? Have y'all ever heard anything about that?
4:21 a.m. and 4:31 a.m., but never got a response. After that, she says she went to bed, saying she was drunk and groggy and thought it all was a prank. She didn't wake up until 11:56 a.m. the next morning when she called 911. And that leads us into the early days of the investigation. A phrase almost synonymous with the Koberger case is the K-bar knife, what we now know as the murder weapon. And early on in the investigation, detectives knew that too. In this document, you can see a long list of people who had recently purchased K-bar knives. Now, this was collected by the FBI, who were working hand in hand with the Moscow Police Department.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about the K-bar knife, we also have to discuss the knife sheath that was left behind at the scene. This same knife sheath would later blow the case wide open.
Right, Abraham. Maybe it was a bulb pop from a lamp that fell. Yeah, it sounds new. I just requested, I just sent my FOIA request about these documents, so hopefully I'll have them in the next, well, it's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. Maybe Monday. I think it was her, Dylan, but I'm not sure.
When DNA from that sheath was collected and tested and proved to be a match with DNA collected from Koberger's parents' home, thousands of miles away in Pennsylvania. But for a time, we, the public, didn't know anything about the K-bar knife sheath. That's why it's odd then when an email came in asking about the knife sheath before it was public knowledge. This next part is from an interview on December 2nd, 2020.
An email came in about the knife sheath before it was public knowledge. What?
22, before Koberger's arrest. Now, the name has been redacted, but here's what happened. Quote, M stated he understood and never put his phone number on orders to prevent phone solicitation. M then abruptly asked, "What can you tell me about 2 feds that showed up at my door today, questioning my recent K-bar order?" J stated she did not know what M was talking about, as she had no knowledge of the investigation. M then stated something to the effect of, "You know a K-bar sheath was left at the scene?" J stated she did not know anything about the situation and asked M if he wanted to complete his order. M stated he was a collector and had enough for now. He also added he better hold off until things die down a little. M then ended the phone call.
That's weird. So before it was public knowledge, somebody called making a K-bar order saying, quote, a K-bar sheath was left at the scene? Wow. His sister? Oh, Melissa. Damn, that might be who it is, Melissa, yeah. But no, it says it was a man. M stated he understood and never put his phone number on orders to prevent phone solicitation. So it could be a made-up name that Brian come up with. I'd be like, what is that? Even a K-bar sheath? I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't either. When I first heard it, I thought it was literally a candy bar wrapper with DNA on it. Oh, wow. I wouldn't have known what a K-bar is either. A knife, I would, but
little. M then ended the phone call.
Wow.
Speaking of phones, these are obviously very important in a case like this. Investigators got warrants for phones of the victims and, of course, Koberger, and they got access to information like Kaylee's Tinder, Madison's Tinder, and even Koberger himself's Tinder. But honestly, we learned a bit more about Koberger from his discussions with police. Now, for those of you following this case from day one, you know there were weeks before anyone was arrested. And it was a shock when an arrest came too. Brian Koberger was arrested on the literal other side of the country than Moscow, Idaho, at his family's home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania.
Right.
We later learned he was studying criminal justice in Washington State, just a short drive away from the University of Idaho. Koberger was arrested on December 30th, 2022, and now we have some major details about his first conversation with police. It started as police read Koberger his Miranda rights, and then, after collecting Koberger's personal information and inquiring about medications, Detective Gilbertson and I began to speak to Koberger. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger about the SWAT operation at the house, to which Koberger replied he was concerned about his parents and his dog. After that, the detectives and Koberger made small talk. Koberger said he went to Washington State University, but he wasn't a big sports fan. And then they talked about Koberger's contentious field of study. Quote,
Now, who was it that said he probably wouldn't be into sports? You were evidently correct. I mean, yeah, he's not a sports person.
Koberger then spoke about how he became interested in criminal justice and stated he thought about being a police officer, but did not want to make that commitment unless he was absolutely sure. This carried on for a while. They discussed everything from Koberger's life in the Pacific Northwest to his road trip with his dad back to Pennsylvania, and even talk about the weather. And then Koberger himself demanded some answers.
He demanded some answers. Okay. Tom, yes. Always catching on quick with the wit. His Scorpio said, I'm good with ballet, but not sports. I'm good at crocheting, but have no interest in sports myself. I do watch gymnastics because I did do gymnastics for a little while I was young. Sometimes a competitive cheerleading. But that's about it. Sometimes I watch swimming, but I mean, again, usually that's just the Olympics type stuff. I do watch on YouTube some of the little ballerinas, the little girls that are doing it, and the pictures and stuff that the adult they take. It's so pretty. I wish I could do that. All right, Koberger is demanding answers. Lordy have mercy.
Then stated he understood why we were engaging in small talk, but would appreciate it if we explained to him what he was doing there. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger why he thought he was there. He said he wanted Detective Gilbertson to tell him. Detective Gilbertson said we're there because of what occurred in Moscow, but did not provide any further detail. Detective Gilbertson asked Koberger if he watched the news. Koberger said, I watch the news. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger why he thought I looked familiar. Kohberger said he wasn't sure and stated I had a familiar face and looked like someone he used to know. Detective Gilbertson then said we were there because of what happened in November, just off the University of Idaho campus. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he knew what that was, to which Kohberger replied, of course. When prompted to elaborate, Kohberger said it was the incident we had been investigating for how long has it been? Kohberger said there were probably several incidents and then said he was aware of a homicide because of a WSU alert he received. Detective Gilbertson asked when Kohberger received the alert. Kohberger said he wasn't sure, but thought it was sometime the previous month. Detective Gilbertson confirmed that was why we were there and asked if Kohberger wanted to talk about that. Kohberger replied, well, I think I would need a lawyer. Kohberger then asked if we would explain to him what we were there for specifically and added he was tired. Detective Gilbertson again stated we were investigating the homicides of 4 students and that we had questions and things we hoped Kohberger would help us understand. But with that, as Kohberger indicated, he wanted an attorney, so the interview abruptly stopped. Now, since his arrest, Brian Kohberger has been housed in the Latah County Jail, and we're learning more about what fellow inmates have to say about Kohberger as well. According to these newly released court documents, an inmate whose name has been redacted from the court documents mentioned Kohberger after an inmate transport. Quote, during their conversation, Redacted stated he was housed in max or maximum security, to which Redacted replied, oh, were you in there with Kohberger? Redacted stated he was. Redacted asked, how is he? Redacted stated, a effing weirdo. Redacted continued to say if he wasn't worried about further legal repercussions, he would have physically assaulted Kohberger. Redacted then asked if Kohberger did it, referencing the homicides. Redacted affirmed this statement and added he had pretty good judgment of people and that his Kohberger's eyes tell a story.
Don't they, though? I mean, don't they? That's been part of the whole case, like his dead eyes and them damn bushy eyebrows. Talk your talk and go viral is what this picture frame says. Interesting.
Just weeks before he was set to go to trial, Brian Kohberger changed his plea.
Yep.
He's since pleaded guilty to the murders of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. He was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences. And that was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of new information in this case. The Law and Crime team will be hard at work in the coming days, bringing you all the latest details.
All right. So that's what we have on Kohberger. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. I did submit 2 FOIA requests while we were watching that. One for the Brian Kohberger documents and one for the case out of Alabama. As soon as I get those, I will upload them onto my Patreon and we will talk about them here. Also, I do need to put Stefan's information on my Patreon. If anybody in here is a member of my Patreon, I'm sorry it's gotten slack. If I told y'all everything going on in real life, it would appall you right now because I don't even have time to think, it feels like. So, I appreciate y'all being here and being patient with me and just hanging out with me every day. Just watching the video and hitting the thumbs up supports me in more ways than you would ever know. So thank you for that. I hope you enjoy your evening. Jenny Jen, thank you. You're so awesome. Always saying thank you for your support. Yes, thank you for your support, everybody. Thank you for being here. I hope y'all have a good Friday night. And I hope y'all have a good Saturday morning. And yep, I'm going to try to enjoy my night as well. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Stay safe out there. If nobody has told you, you are important, you are enough, you are special, and you are loved. And I love y'all. And y'all have a good day. Bye.
Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the the better.